Good morning and welcome to the Nevada State Board of Pharmacy December 2025 meeting. Today is Thursday, December 4th, and our meeting will now come to order. My name is Helen Park and I'll be the presiding officer. We'll start with the Board of Pharmacy mission statement. In regulating the practice of pharmacy, the Nevada State Board of Pharmacy has a duty to carry out and enforce the provisions of Nevada law to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the public. Right, next we'll do our roll call. Mr. Adam Horath.
Here.
Ms. Crystal Freitas.
Here.
Mr. Richard Tomaso.
Here.
Ms. Jade Jacobo.
Present.
Ms. Shanice Taylor.
Present.
Ms. Anna Carr.
Present.
Okay, so we have all members present. Mr. Wiest, any announcements?
Yes, good morning, Madam President. I'll start with, we have a limited number of people in the public here in person, and 1/3 of them are previous board members. So Melissa Shake is here. This meeting will be held in conformance with the Nevada open meeting law, and the people that are in the room know where to go look for the television, and the people on Zoom can make their own views. I also note that I think that we had the Walgreens appearance yesterday, and they're not going to be able to appear today just because they want to make sure that they have the right people here. I want to say that the staff has no express concerns. It's a matter of statute that they need to appear when they have an own pharmacy before, and that was our attempt to do. So we'll have to they've asked to table that. I think everything they did was in good faith. There was some kind of miscommunication. It could have been partially on our part too. So we'll just work with them in front to make sure that we know what's going to happen when they do appear. So they apologized and just what it is. So we won't be seeing those, and they'll all stay unapproved at this point. Again, put on the record from my perspective, there's no enforcement action that the staff will be taking. We don't have any concerns, and the pharmacy should continue to operate as they do now. Okay. Thank you, Madam President. Good meeting for you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Wiest. All right, as our next order of business, the board will open up the floor for any public comment. If we have anyone in the room who wishes to make a public comment, please come forward. Or if you are online or on Zoom, please let us know you have a comment and we'll unmute your line. Does not appear that anyone in the room wishes to make a public comment at this time. Do we have anyone online?
No, Madam President.
Okay, so at this time, the period for public comment is now closed and there'll be another opportunity at the end of the day. With that, we'll go ahead and move right into our next agenda item, which is workshop item 18A.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll start and then I'll turn it over to Brett. This is a workshop item that you've had before you at the last meeting. We did have some public testimony that wanted to give some input. And I just want to say that we've met with the parties that were involved in that, which was mostly the homeopathic board itself. We've addressed, I think, what their concerns are. There's been some change in the language, and I'll just let Brett go ahead and go through that language for you.
Brett Camp for the record. Good morning.
Yeah, there is public comment that is in front of you, and we might receive some today too. Sorry. Thanks. Sorry, Brett.
No problem. Brett Camp for the record. Good morning. And yeah, just to clarify, we didn't meet with the entire homeopathic board, but we met with representatives of the homeopathic board that provided us some input, and we crafted some revisions to the workshop language as a result of that input. And I believe addressed any concerns that they had indicated they had. So basically, this would adopt two new sections to NAC 453 or excuse me, 639, addressing the authority of a homeopathic physician to possess, administer, prescribe, and or dispense controlled substances or dangerous drugs. And so for section 1, I think the nuance here is consistent with the Attorney General's recent opinion provided to us, is that if a homeopathic physician is not either licensed as an allopathic or osteopathic physician, or they don't hold some other type of license, such as an APRN or a physician's assistant, which could also provide a path for them to be licensed by this board to, I'll say, dispense, for lack of a better term. I don't want to go through the whole litany of activities. Then they would, both with regard to dangerous drugs and controlled substances, be limited to handling those drugs in conformance with their homeopathic pharmacology, which is defined in the homeopathic chapter at 630A-040, and in those dosages, excuse me, that are permitted in their pharmacopoeia. And so we've got Section 1 addressing dangerous drugs in that regard, Section 2 addressing controlled substances and making reference to the fact that they would have to be registered with this board under 453-226 with regard to controlled substances. But nevertheless, if they don't have that other designation, they're limited to those dosages. It adopts that publication by reference into the chapter, which is also the case with the homeopathic chapter 630A. And then it gives just subsection 3 just provides some definitions by reference to existing provisions in Nevada law that define those different types of physicians. And then Section 2, proposed Section 2, actually places a corresponding responsibility on a pharmacist or a dispensing practitioner that they cannot fill or dispense a dangerous drug or a controlled substance prescription that's issued by a homeopath that would exceed those dosages if they don't hold the other, another designation as an allopath, an osteopath, or some other authorization from this board to prescribe or dispense. So that is a brief overview of the proposed language.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Cant. All right, I think before we go into discussion, we'll move to public comment on this workshop item. So if we have anyone in the room or online who wishes to make a public comment in regards to this workshop item, please come forward or raise your hand or let us know through Zoom. We did get some public comment that we have that was written in. Okay, do we have anyone online who wishes to make a public comment on this workshop item?
No, Madam President.
Okay, all right, then we'll close the hearing for public comment on this item and I'll turn it over to the board for board discussion. Board members?
Adam Porth for the record. I think my only concern was Section 2. I guess in the unlikely scenario that a pharmacist was presented with a prescription from a solely licensed homeopathic physician. The homeopathic pharmacopoeia is a subscription service, so it would be difficult to verify what the dose, if the dose was in that reference. It's not a reference that we require outpatient pharmacies to have in this state. So number one, they would have to validate that they are singly licensed through the various boards. And then number two, I think they probably in reality have to call the homeopathic board to see if that dose met those standards. So it's my only concern. I think more likely we're probably going to see that it's a dispensing practitioner activity and not actually a prescription that comes to a pharmacy.
No, that's a good point. Board staff, any comments on that?
I'll go ahead. If you have a proposed change in the language, we can go with that. I think that the intent of this regulation is to follow what the AGO was, and that's what we're doing. So that's I think that is your concern. As somebody that gets calls already, that the board staff would attempt, and I think that there could also be, and we could do that language. There could be a discussion. I mean, the person that was prescribing it should have access to it and they could talk to the pharmacist about it and be able to show them what it is, so that there might be another path. But I can't discount that things are challenging from time to time, and that will be challenging. But I personally, I think once it hits its stride with it, it'll become, that's the practice. As far as knowing, the obligation is to know if that's a proper prescriber. So I would discount that just a little bit. I know it's challenging, but that's, you have to do that to make sure throughout the whole spectrum. We have doctors that have privileges today or registration today and they don't have tomorrow, and you have to know that they don't. So I know it's challenging. So if you want to make a modification, it would be okay with us, obviously.
I don't, I don't know that I have any better language. I mean, I think in this case, they're not going to be an MD or DO, right?
Yeah.
So that would be your first indication.
And that's readily available
Yeah.
online, like that's like you don't have to talk to a person to get that.
Yeah, it's really just the validation of the dose. I think that might be a little bit challenging.
I will also tell you that, I mean, you are correct that it's something that you purchase. We've had interactions with the group or the person that maintains it. It's challenging in itself already. So I think that I know that knows that from personal experience.
Kim, for the record, I was just going to add, just quickly, I think the intent behind that was compliance, and the issue for us, at least in one instance, has been that we had a homeopath that didn't hold any of the other designations, regularly issuing prescriptions in the dosages that exceed the permitted amounts, and we were just trying to find another avenue to prevent that. And that was kind of the idea behind the pharmacist being in position. And I think in that instance also, there was some collaboration between a particular pharmacist and the homeopath, that the pharmacist knew the homeopath probably wasn't supposed to be issuing those prescriptions and those dosages. And so they were collaborating, and we were trying to prevent, the vast majority, obviously, of practitioners want to comply. And this was really the goal here, was to prevent bad actors.
I just think putting the onus on the pharmacist here, number one, as Mr. Porth noted, with the lack of reference materials readily available. But number two, I feel like a pharmacist day to day, like they're having to struggle with, determining practitioners, whether they're legally able to prescribe, number one, out-of-state practitioners and having to deal with those issues. Phone calls from doctors. There's so many different things that they're having to deal with. I think the obligation should be more on the prescriber here, the homeopath, and not enforcing it just the pharmacist.
I do think it probably just comes down to a matter of education. Like if a singly licensed homeopath writes for a dangerous drug in a normal dose, it's probably not valid. I mean, so I think and again, we're talking about 2 providers in the state currently. So this is a relatively rare incidence that we're trying to cover. So, I think it's something that we could probably provide education to pharmacists, maybe through the next law to say, like, this is the requirement. And a normal dose of the medication is likely not something that would be in the homeopathic pharmacopoeia.
Brett Camp, for the record, I would also just add that practically speaking, if I was presented with that situation I was just telling you about right now, where the pharmacist is involved with a homeopath, and if it's a controlled substance, this wouldn't necessarily be an issue or an avenue for charging with a dangerous drug. But if it's a controlled substance, I could charge them for violating 21 CFR 130604, which places that corresponding responsibility upon the pharmacist to ensure that a controlled substance prescription is legitimate. So practically speaking, that's what I would do now in that situation. We were trying to craft something that was broader. And once again, I'm not trying to implicate a pharmacist that makes an innocent mistake. I'm really concerned about a pharmacist that's collaborating with a homeopath to try to circumvent those limitations.
This is Helen Park. I'm in favor of the proposed change or the language as it is now. It may not be exactly where we want it to be, but I think it serves its purpose of protecting the public from bad actors. So I think the cases we brought up were good today, but very unlikely. And so I think this does more good instead of focusing on the rare exception.
Yeah, again, Adam Porth. I would completely agree. I just wanted to make sure that it was set on the record that there's potentially some things here
Sure.
we need to consider.
Yeah, and then I do also want to say that I appreciate board staff working with representatives from the homeopathic board. Appreciate that. I know in our last meeting, there was some comment from the homeopathic board, so I think we landed on a good work product.
Yeah, and we'll add it to the lossy, so we'll just add it to the lossy, and it's a good suggestion, didn't think about that, so we'll do that.
I think that helps to cover my concerns. So I would move that we adopt the proposed regulation as presented.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kobo, second by Mr. Porras. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you for that discussion, board. Appreciate that. All right, we're going to move on to our next workshop item, and that is 18B, and I will turn it over to Dr. Sarman.
Thank you. Good morning, President Park and board members. This is Darla Zarley for the record. This proposed regulation can be found on page 6,999 of your board book. This proposed regulation is to schedule dipentalone and 7 fentanyl-related substances in Schedule 1. Dipentalone is a chemical substance that is structurally related to N-ethylpentalone. N-ethylpentalone is listed as a hallucinogenic substance in Schedule 1 at 21 CFR 1308.11 D86. As stated in this subsection, a listed hallucinogenic substance includes any of its salts, isomers, and salts of isomers. Dipentalone meets the definition of positional isomer in 21 CFR 1301B. This became a final rule effective by the DEA on August 8th, 2025. Effective September 8th, 2025, the DEA permanently scheduled 7 fentanyl-related substances as Schedule 1 controlled substances under the Controlled Substance Act. DEA finds substantial evidence of potential for abuse of the following substances: parachlorophenol, orthochlorophenol, metafluorofluorofentanyl, orthomethylcyclopropylfentanyl, beta-methylacetylfentanyl, tetrahydrothiophluorofentanyl, and parafluorovalprofenol. These 7 substances have no FDA-approved medical use and have not been investigated as new drugs. Their safety for use under medical supervision has not been determined. Therefore, there is a lack of accepted safety use for these 7 substances under medical supervision. Based on these findings, the administrator of the DEA concludes that these substances warrant continued control in Schedule 1 of the Controlled Substance Act. We are bringing this forward for your consideration to schedule dipentalone and these 7 fentanyl-related substances in Schedule 1 in Nevada.
Thank you. All right, so I will move it to public comment first, and then we'll turn to board discussion. Do we have anyone in the room or online who wishes to make a public comment on this workshop item? I don't see anyone online. I mean, I don't see anyone in the room who wishes to make a comment. Do we have anyone online?
Anybody on Zoom, Madam President?
Okay, so we'll close the period for public comment on this workshop item and we'll move it over to board discussion. Okay, board members?
Madam President.
This is pretty straightforward. I would move that we adopt the proposed amendments to the regulation.
Crystal Freitas, I agree. I'd second.
All right, so we have a motion by Mr. Kobo, a second by Ms. Freitas. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. All right, thank you. We'll move on to 19A for our first public hearing.
Thank you, Brett Camp, for the record. So this is LCB file number R197-24. And you had obviously authorized workshop language that went to LCB for drafting. And the whole purpose of these amendments to NRS 453, or excuse me, NAC 639 are to ensure that your laws related to the licensing and regulation of narcotics, narcotic treatment facilities, that your laws, Nevada laws, align with federal law. And there were some changes to federal law. And so we're making some conforming amendments, I would call them, to Nevada law. And one of the main ones you'll notice, starting with section 1, is Nevada law utilized a definition that no longer exists in federal law, which is this opioid and agonist treatment medication. So we've removed that definition. And then just for a brief overview, sections 2 and 4 make some non-substantive revisions to provide that the license issued by this board is to administer the facility rather than to administer the opioid agonist treatment medication. And then section 4 also clarifies that an applicant for a license from this board has to be registered with the DEA as a narcotic treatment program. And then section 4 also clarifies that the facility can administer or dispense certain controlled substance to a person who's dependent on opioids, but it prohibits that facility from prescribing controlled substances or dangerous drugs. So it's a limited scope license. And then section 4 also clarifies that the facility has to employ a medical director. And then it sets forth some specific requirements for the medical director of that facility. And once again, this is also all aligning with changes that were made to federal law. So the medical director has got to be a physician licensed to practice medicine or osteopathic medicine in Nevada, registered to dispense controlled substances pursuant to NRS 453, registered as a dispensing practitioner with this board pursuant to NAC 639-742. And obviously there are notification requirements that if the facility changes their medical director, the timely notification has to go to this board so we can ensure that there's a medical director in place at all times that meets those qualifications. And then it simply just requires that the facility comply with all applicable federal and state laws. And it's possible that we will bring changes to you in the future as federal law is changed to ensure that Nevada law once again aligns with federal law. But with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I'll go ahead and turn it over to public comment first, and then we'll come back to board discussion. So on this public hearing item, if there's anyone in the room who wishes to make a public comment, or anyone online, if you could please come forward or let us know through Zoom. It does not appear that there is public comment on this item, so we'll turn it back to board members. Board members, any questions, comments?
Crystal Freitas, I don't have any comments. It's putting us more in line with federal law, so I would move to approve LCB file R197-24.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Freitas, a second by Mr. Jacobo. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. We'll move on then to 19B.
I think Ken's gonna do this date weeks for the record. I'll just give a quick background on it. This is a requirement of statute. It was supposed to have already been done and we've not done it, so we're doing it now. And then we'll walk you through the language.
Thank you, Yanlong, for the record. Good morning, Madam President, members of the board. This is item 19B, public hearing for LCB file number R203-24, which establishes the licensing requirements for facilities for intermediate care and facilities for skilled nursing. As stated by Mr. Wiest, this is a requirement of the board. NRS 639.2177 grants authority to the board to license these types of facilities and requires the board to adopt regulations as necessary for the protection of the public pertaining to the safe and efficient acquisition, possession, storage, handling, and administration of controlled substances and dangerous drugs in these facilities. I will quickly go over the sections of the proposed regulation. The proposed regulation sets forth in Section 2 the licensing requirements for intermediate care and skilled nursing facilities which do not have a pharmacy directly on the premises and wish to maintain a stock of drugs on site for the treatment of patients at the facility. The section also requires the facility to obtain a DEA license number if the facility is handling controlled substances. Section 3 of the proposed regulation requires the facility to contract with a licensed pharmacy who will supply the drugs to the facility, which will include supplying stocks of drugs for emergency treatment of inpatients, stocking supply of prepackaged drugs, or furnish a supply of drugs and mechanical devices, and processing and filling prescriptions for patients at the facility. In Section 3, it also requires the facility to employ or enter into a contract with a pharmacist to establish policies and procedures, and for that pharmacist to monitor its compliance as it relates to the purchasing, storage, maintenance of records, and administration of drugs at the facility. Section 4 establishes the other duties of the employed or contracted pharmacist, which includes monthly visits to the facility to monitor its compliance. Section 5 establishes the fee for the license, which is $500 for initial registration and $500 biannually to renew that registration or that license, which is similar to the costs for ambulatory surgical centers and recovery centers. Just wanted you to know that. Section 6 applies certain definitions to the rest of the regulation, and Section 7 simply amends NAC 639.498, which pertains to the destruction of controlled substances at these facilities so that the verbiage is consistent throughout the chapter. We're striking out a licensed consulting pharmacist and replacing it with the pharmacist who is employed by or contracted with the facility. So that is just a cleanup in the language. So that is the public hearing LCB file number R203.24. I'll turn it over to the board for any questions.
Great, thank you, Dr. Long. Board members, any questions at this time? Otherwise, I'll turn it over to public comment. Okay, we could come back for our discussion. So any public comment? If there's anyone who wishes to make public comment on this hearing item, please come forward or let us know through Zoom. It does not appear that there's anyone who wishes to make a public comment on this hearing item, so I'll turn it back to the board for board discussion or any questions. I don't have any questions. This one too seems very straightforward.
Yes, I agree, and it conforms to what we're doing in practice anyway currently. So I would move that we adopt LCB file number R203-24.
Second.
Okay, motion by Ms. Jacobo, seconded by Mr. Porath. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. All right, moving along, we'll go to our next public hearing item, 19C.
Again, this is Darla Zarley for the record. This public hearing item can be found on page 7073 of your board book. which is LCB file number R 204-24. This regulation is adding ethylphenidate and 2-methyl AP 237 to Schedule 1. This was previously presented and approved by you at the December 2024 meeting. The proposed regulation has also been reviewed and approved by LCB. 2-methyl AP 237 has a pharmacological profile similar to other classical opioids such as fentanyl, morphine, and heroin, which act as mu opioid receptor agonists and presents a high risk of abuse and negatively affects users and communities. Ethylphenidate belongs to the stimulant class of drugs and possesses abuse liability similar to that of methylphenidate. However, unlike methylphenidate, ethylphenidate has no currently accepted medical use in the treatment of in the United States. To prevent harm to the public, we are bringing this public hearing item forward for your approval to add ethylphenidate and 2-methyl AP 237 in Schedule 1 in Nevada.
Great, thank you for your presentation.
Well, can I ask one more thing?
Yeah.
Just because we do have a couple new members, can you just walk through how these regs become to be in the groups that you work with, so that the two new board members understand that too?
Yes, so I attend quarterly our crime lab meetings in Nevada, and what these, the individuals who attend these crime labs are all the labs in the state. So there's one in Henderson, there's one in Clark County, and then there's one up in Northern Nevada, and they bring forward what substances they find in the community or in the state of Nevada. We also have some law enforcement officials on this committee, but once we meet every quarter, and they bring forward recommendations on what we should schedule in Nevada, and a lot of them mirror federal law. So if something's been scheduled federally, then they recommend that we move forward and schedule it in Nevada as well. All of these that have been brought forward today are scheduled federally already.
Great, thank you. All right, I will open it up for any public comment on this public hearing item. If there's anyone who wishes to make a public comment, please come forward or let us know through Zoom. All right, it looks like we do not have anyone in the room who wishes to make a public comment or online, so I'll turn it over to the board for discussion.
I don't think there's any discussion. It's pretty straightforward. So Crystal Freitas, I would move to approve LCB file R 204-24.
Okay, motion by Ms. Freitas, second by Ms. Jacobo. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion passes. Okay, we'll go to our final public hearing item for the day, and that is 19D.
Yeah, Dave Weiss for the record. So what you have a hearing in front of you with proposed regulations related mostly to emergency medical technicians or paramedics. The term has changed through the years, so we try to do the best to match that up to your authority in 454, but you certainly have the authority in 454 to make modifications to what EMTs can do. We've worked closely with the health department that licenses the EMTs to make sure that things that we do meet the national strategy and structure, and they have rules in place to be able to address it, and we've done that in this case. Simply what has been asked, mostly from hospitals, and I think a little bit from the prisons, is that an EMT could help support care in a hospital related to drug administration when it's within their scope of knowledge. Right now, they don't have the express permission to do that because they're focused on emergencies. This is allowing them to help the hospital and other staff members to administer drugs when it's not an emergency situation. There are drugs that they, already work with, some for the most part work with, and some that, they have to have some knowledge. There's policies and procedures that have to be done in the hospital. And I want to make it clear that we did not permit controlled substances to be done by them. So that would be left to practitioners and nurses at that particular point. I can answer any questions. You do have some comment, and we might have some public comment today too, and I can answer any questions related to the law.
Great, thank you, Mr. Weiss. I will open it up for public comment on this hearing item. So if there's anyone in the room or online who wishes to make a public comment, please come forward or let us know on Zoom.
One person for sure too.
And we do have the written comments as well.
Good morning. For the record, my name's Elizabeth Bickle. I've been a registered nurse for close to 20 years, and the last nearly 7 of those have been in the emergency department. I'm a proud union member with National Nurses Organizing Committee, or NNOC for short, and NNOC opposes the board's proposed regulation, LCB file number R004-25, because it would endanger patients by allowing paramedics to administer these drugs in the hospitals. Our paramedic colleagues are valuable first responders, but their certification training is focused on providing pre-hospital emergency care and then handing off patients to doctors and nurses when they arrive at the hospital. Nursing education programs require RNs to complete at least 2 years of classroom education, including training in pharmacology. The nursing program I attended required nearly 1,000 hours of clinical training in hospital settings, including med-surg nursing, maternal child, emergency nursing, psych nursing, and even intensive care nursing. In addition, registered nurses need to have the relevant clinical competencies for the patient areas that they work in, whether it's the emergency department, an ICU, or other specialty units. As an ER nurse, I perform ongoing nursing assessments of patients. The nursing assessment is one of my principal duties as a registered nurse. Ongoing nursing assessments allow me to monitor changes in a patient's condition, sometimes minute by minute, to determine whether their condition is improving and to anticipate any potential complications. Medication administration is a high-risk procedure. It's prone to errors and complications that can end up being fatal for our patients. The need for ongoing nursing assessment is especially critical when I administer medications. For example, if a patient comes in having a stroke and needs a powerful thrombolytic like TPA or TNK, and that medication is administered incorrectly, or if the patient is on certain other medications or has comorbidities, there's a high risk of increased morbidity and mortality to that patient. And those potential complications require a hard assessment done by nursing staff. The laws governing nursing practice specifically authorize me to perform nursing assessments and administer medication without restrictions on where I can carry out those duties. However, the laws governing emergency medical personnel heavily restrict where paramedics can provide services to the pre-hospital setting. We understand that the board has the authority to regulate the administration of these substances, but we do not believe the board has the authority to allow paramedics to do so in hospital settings. This year, the legislature failed to pass SB 495, which would have allowed paramedics to provide services in hospitals, and we believe that the legislature acted appropriately. Because of existing restrictions on paramedics, we believe the board should not expand the setting to hospitals. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comments. All right, do we have anyone else who wishes to make a public comment? Okay, looks like we have a couple more. Hi, good morning.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Ariel Hernandez, and I'm a regulatory policy specialist with National Nurses Organizing Committee, Nevada, which represents more than 3,000 registered nurse members in the state. As speaker put it right before me, NNOC opposes the board's proposed regulation LCB file number R00425 because it would endanger patients by allowing paramedics to help administer controlled substances in hospital settings. And we urge the board to withdraw this rulemaking for the following reasons. First, paramedics, while valuable first responders, do not have the clinical education and experience required for treating patients in hospital settings. Unlike registered nurses, paramedics are trained in providing pre-hospital care, specifically to stabilize patients and during transport until nurses and physicians take over at the hospital. Only RNs have the clinical education and experience to perform ongoing assessment that hospital patients need. When administering medication, RNs monitor changes in patients' conditions, which can be hour by hour, but are often minute by minute, to determine whether their condition is improving or anticipate potential complications. Administration of controlled substances, even if it's just helping, is a high-risk procedure and requires ongoing assessment by RNs, and that is in the direct care context. Second, paramedics have no authorization under existing law to provide services in hospital settings once a hospital takes responsibility of a patient. Like the previous speaker said, SB 495 would have authorized paramedics to do so, to provide services in hospitals generally, but that failed to pass. Third, notwithstanding the board's authority to regulate administration of controlled substances by paramedics, the board lacks the authority to permit paramedics to provide services in hospital settings generally. The laws governing emergency medical services heavily restrict the settings where paramedics can provide services. Those settings are limited to the scene of an emergency during transport to a hospital and at the hospital, but only up until the hospital takes over a patient's care, such as during a transfer. Finally, NNOC urges state agencies, including this board, to focus on strengthening nursing retention and recruitment rather than shifting care to paramedics. We've also submitted written comments to the board with more details on our concerns, and we invite you to review those. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, do we have further public comment? All right. Hi, good morning.
You're still muted if you
You
can.
seem to be muted.
There you go.
My name is Adam Hart, and I'm also a registered nurse in the pediatric ICU here in Southern Nevada, and I have done so for the last 15 years. I'm also a proud union member, and I work in NOC. So this regulation, if adopted, would be a drastic change that would threaten patient safety. Paramedics and registered nurses are both crucial to our healthcare system, but we play very different roles. The setting and timeframes in which we work differ dramatically. Paramedics must act decisively and accurately under pressure in life and death situations. Paramedics are invaluable in providing emergency care, but follow specific protocols and often use a limited set of medications to do so. Nurses care for patients over a multiple day continuum. And that's markedly different. As you know, sometimes medications take time to take effect. Health conditions can change during the course of that treatment. And so that's that monitoring aspect. The site and the conditions matter, situations matter. Pharmacists and nurses know that administering medications is just not an issue of getting prescribed medications into the patient's body. There's professional judgment that help keep patients safe. Without professional judgment, the risk of medication errors and mortality would increase. Before administering medications, nurses review patients' lab results, their medical conditions, they take vital signs, they think about IV access constraints, they think about the schedule for the day, ongoing procedures, what we call field trips going off the floor. But we also think about the patient in their totality and having patient, family visitors. Before administering any medication, I must consider whether it's the right drug, the right amount, the right time, whether there could be a potentially better alternative. And I do that closely in concert with my pharmacist. This is crucial in preventing medication errors. For example, most protocols in my unit, for instance, and almost all, are based on body weight, and that's an ideal body weight situation. But I must determine whether or not that protocol or set of standing orders is appropriate for this individual patient, who could be not at that ideal body weight, as we know is a possibility. The justification for the rulemaking is that there's not enough RNs in Nevada. However, the supply of RNs with active license in the state of Nevada is robust, and it is outpacing population growth in our state. The current number of active RN licenses in our state has increased by 38% since 2020, according to data that's available from the National Council of State Board of Nursing. In sum, our state does not have a shortage of registered nurses. It has an understaffing crisis, and we must focus on nursing retention. Like pharmacists, RNs are seeking ratios to ensure that we can provide safe care. We believe that this would dramatically improve nurse retention, and that could potentially be the fix that they're looking for, and not replacing, nurses with paramedics in the hospital setting. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Appreciate that. Do we have anyone else who wishes to make a public comment?
Not seeing anyone, Madam President.
Then I will turn it over to the board for some board discussion.
President Park, Brett Camp for the record, can I make 2 clarification points? One, I know that some of the testimony from one of the individuals was referencing controlled substances, but this regulation does not authorize controlled substances, only dangerous drugs. I wanted to clarify that. And then 2, SB 495 did have a section 29. It would have mandated that the State Board of Health adopt regulations regarding paramedics to be employed in hospitals. But that doesn't mean that the State Board of Health doesn't already have the authority to authorize that. This would have been a mandate, a legislative mandate. And that was only one section in a 124-page bill.
Dave Weiss for the record too, just to support you. Very moving testimony, so it's good that they're here to tell you. Ultimately, this does go back to the legislature, so I just want to be clear for everybody who doesn't clearly understand the process. The legislature will have the final say on it. So I'm not saying you should do what you think is safe for the public. That's what you should do. But if it were to move forward, it wouldn't become law. It would have to go to the legislature.
Mr. Tomaso?
Yeah, there was interesting testimony by the nurses. I do take exception to the fact that they say the board doesn't have the authority. I don't think we'd be here if we had the authority to do this. But I do agree, because I haven't heard, I guess someone maybe on the board can tell me or why a paramedic, once they turn a patient over to the hospital, has to now have, why they need to prescribe or administer drugs to a patient that's in the hospital. I don't understand what brought this up.
I'll answer the question. So I think that it came from the hospitals. And it was related that during COVID, again, this doesn't mean it's good. It's just, this is what happened. So during COVID, they began to do this. And then after we got through COVID, they had all these people that were doing it, and should they stop doing it or continue to do it? And I think they did what they thought was appropriate. They came to you and said, could you allow this? And I think it is within your authority to allow it. The LCB has already codified the language. It doesn't mean that the legislature wants you to do this. They get the final say on that. And I don't know what they would say about it, but this became in certain hospitals the standard of practice, and it's a matter of it's balancing out how many nurses there are. It doesn't mean that they're gonna, I can see where it feels like you might be replacing nurses. You can't deny that, but this is just to make sure that people get their meds in certain circumstances. The way the law is written, the hospital would have to define in policy what they have to do. And again, I have talked to the health department about this. It's not, they have some jurisdiction, you have some jurisdiction, you have the jurisdiction to do this. If the health department said, don't do this, then I would say we shouldn't do this, but that's not, this is happening everywhere. It's everybody's, the nurses are looking for more authority, the pharmacists, the doctors, the lab, everybody's doing it. It's just the nature of what it is. And it's your job to find where the correct balance is and the safety for the patient.
Okay, well, I'm speaking as a public member. I feel this way about that. We allowed a lot of things during COVID. We made a lot of exceptions. And after the COVID was over, we retracted it and brought it back. If there's another emergency in this state or this country, we could then do it again. But I feel the same way about this. being a patient being wheeled into hospital as I do about receiving a prescription that was prepared by a pharmacist tech, as by the pharmacist himself. I feel like the pharmacist prepared it, he sees it, he looked at it, he touched it. I'm pretty safe. Tech, maybe I'm not. And I see a lot of problems where here before us where, I mean, I'm getting off the subject of one, because I'm just trying to relate the difference between the pharmacist and a tech and a nurse and a paramedic. The training that the paramedic, I think they're right, the paramedic doesn't have the training that the nurses have. And I just feel like if I was wheeled into hospital, I would like to hear what the nurse had to say about what I should be taking, rather than what the paramedic had to say about what I should be taking. And I think that there is a public safety issue here. And I feel strongly about it. I agree with the nurse. I don't see a need, and I haven't heard a lot of need. Why absolutely positively you need these paramedics are definitely needed to administer and prescribe and administer drugs in a hospital. I can't see it. I mean,
I think you may from your fellow board members that work in a hospital, or you may not. So I would wait for that. Again, for staff, I appreciate what you're saying. Our job is just to do what you told us to do. So this is what, like, we're not setting the policy, and this is where you get to decide if it's a good policy or not a good policy.
Yeah, so this is Helen Parks. I appreciate the comments from you, Mr. Tomaso, because you represent our public. I think the way that I look at the language here is a little bit different. So there are differences, of course, significant differences in the level of education and training between nurse and EMT. But to me, what this language is saying is that, you know, it's not like you're going to get wheeled into a hospital and it's going to be an EMT that decides your medication. It's a medication that's ordered by the practitioner, and that would be regardless of whether it's a nurse or EMT. It's prescribed by a medical practitioner. So I think that's the first component, is that part has already been determined, medically determined, and you've been assessed by the practitioner. And so that part, it's not like they have to decide what medication you're going to be on or so forth. So that evaluation has already taken place. The second part of the language says they have to be in good standing, which I think makes sense, and that's what we want. The third part says a hospital or correctional institution has enacted a medication administration policy and protocol related to the possession and administration of the drug. So the hospital or correctional institution has the ability to really restrict, limit, and decide how they're going to use or work with EMTs to provide these services. Being familiar with correctional institutions, there's not enough nurses to pass out medications. And I think there's not enough nurses in our rural areas just to hand out medications. And so I see a great benefit in allowing augmenting those services where it's very limited in scope. There's not, they're not going to do the job of what nurses do. EMTs cannot replace nurses, but in this case, they would be able to hand out the medications. And so I see this as being safer for patients to receive the medications that have been prescribed to them by a medical practitioner.
You made it sound very simple. In other words, the paramedic, he's just taking it from a practitioner or somebody else and saying, okay, I'll bring it over here and give it to this patient. If from the sounds of it, from listening to the nurse, it sounds like they have this patient think, but this guy's not doing good, I better give him such and such.
Right, and make a determination or decision, but they wouldn't be.
But that's the way it sounded. But actually, then even the nurses aren't administering it, they're doing it with the practitioner.
For the practitioner's order and assessment, yeah.
So it's not really the paramedic making a decision. It's a practitioner making a decision.
Correct. And it's not controlled substances.
Right, it's a minor detail that I don't understand from this, but I see the difference there.
I just have a clarifying question because the language in here is pretty specific about advanced emergency. So an advanced EMT versus and paramedic, is that different than a regular EMT? Because I was trying to find that in 450B and I don't know.
The advance is the current term for.
Which is the current term.
Yeah, it changes from time to time.
So they don't need any additional certification above.
So yeah, there are basic EMTs, there's intermediate
Right.
EMTs, there's advanced, and there's paramedics, and within each one of those, they have in the field today, certain things that they can and can't do based on that level of certification. So in the field, the advanced EMTs and paramedics are the only ones that can administer drugs in the field. And so that was the thought that they should, within the hospital setting, those should be the only classifications of EMTs that should be able to handle medications as well. Adam Porth for the record, just his history, we have had EMTs during COVID working in this function. I think Dr. Park said it well. I mean, it's all part of team-based care led by the providers. This doesn't take away nursing assessment. That is still happening and ongoing. It's truly an extra set of hands on the team to help administer medications is what this comes down to. And it's something that, again, these people are doing in the field, in the rigs, without provider supervision every single day. And so from my perspective, having that done in a hospital where there's a lot of other oversight is not a patient safety issue.
Okay, then tell me, Adam, can they, if someone, I get in an ambulance with an EMT and they're taking me to hospital, and there's no practitioner knows anything about me at this point, and they on the ride to the hospital give me a dangerous drug.
They can, and they can also give you controlled substances.
Is that right?
Yes.
I'll be down.
To save your life.
Yeah. You want them to, right? You want them to assess you.
I just hope it's the right drug.
All right, thanks, board, for the discussions. Ready to move forward?
I'm good. I mean, you clarified everything for me, my concerns.
I second. I'm taking, I'm good as a motion.
Mr. Tomaso, is that a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion. Go ahead and accept this.
And I second.
All right, so there's a motion by Mr. Tomaso, and a second by Mr. Cobo. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you. That completes our public hearing items. And then with that, we'll take a quick break. All right, so we're back with our Board of Pharmacy meeting. We are going to move forward with 12A for Hillcrest Pharmacy, LLC. And we do have representatives at the table, so good morning.
Good morning.
If I can have each of you state your full name and titles for the record.
Good morning. My name is Courtney Sullivan. I represent Hillcrest Pharmacy. With me today is the PIC, Ryan Abeda, to my left, and the designated person, Mike Stuckey, to my right.
Okay, great. So for the record, I am familiar with the designated person, Michael from pharmacy school, but I feel that I could participate fairly and unbiased in this matter. Okay, so for the pharmacist, I'm going to swear you both in. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes.
Yes.
Great, thank you so much. All right, Mr. Dodge.
Thank you, Madam President. This application begins on page 6,298 of the board book. This is a service modification for an out-of-state pharmacy. And they listed on the application that they are going to be performing non-sterile, sterile compounding mail order service. So I'll just have a few questions for you today, mostly related to the sterile compounding. So you've been licensed in Nevada for many years at this point?
Correct, since 2018.
Great. And have you been shipping any product into Nevada since that time?
Yes, Legend and non-sterile compounds.
And do you have certain service areas, or is it all over Nevada that you're currently shipping to?
We don't necessarily have designated service areas. It's just patient specific based off prescriptions we receive.
Okay, great. And what service modification are you looking for today?
The addition of 797 sterile products being able to be shipped into Nevada.
Okay, so you've been doing non-sterile in the past?
Correct.
Great. What's the purpose of having sterile compounded products shipped into Nevada?
We're just expanding our catalog of products that we offer. And since we're a neighboring state with Nevada, we do have patients who live on the Nevada side of our border and go to prescribers in St. George, Utah, for example, which is in the southern corner of our state. So some people have asked us to be able to do that. We have not been able to do that thus far. And so we just thought that was a natural next step.
Great. And how long have you been at the pharmacy for?
I helped open the pharmacy in 2018, so about 7.5 years.
Great. All right, so I'll just have some specific questions related to the sterile compounding. Anybody can answer the questions. Probably the designated person will want to assist with the process. I think that's probably the most pertinent person to answer the questions. So Mr. Stuckey, how long have you been at the pharmacy?
I've been with Hillcrest Pharmacy since March of this year.
Okay, great. Can you just give us a little background on your sterile compounding experience?
Yes, I was at another 503A sterile and non-sterile compounding pharmacy from about 2019 until 2023. I was first trained or certified in sterile compounding in it was January or the spring of 21. And since then, so I spent a couple of years there, still did complete the yearly didactic, even though the last couple of years prior to Hillcrest, I was in retail.
But you have a strong basis in order to be the designated person you feel at this point for the sterile compounding process. Great. And you completed the sterile compounding questionnaire, so thank you for doing that. I just want to have a few confirmations related to the answers that you put on there. So you're compounding category 2 products, is that correct?
That is correct.
Is Utah enforcing the revised USP 797 guidelines at this point?
They are not completely.
Okay, I looked at their inspection form and it looked like they were still using the low, medium, and high risk terminology versus the categories.
Right.
Okay, but are you guys following the revised, even though they're not enforcing it? Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, and you're doing all aseptic process sterile product, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you're performing sterility and endotoxin testing on all of your products
Yes.
to get the extended beyond use dating?
Correct.
Okay, excellent. No hazardous products will be shipped into Nevada, is that correct?
Right.
Great. And you listed on the form, Mr. Stuckey, that you're currently the only person that's performing the sterile compounding. Is that still correct? Or have you increased the staff members that are actually doing the compounding?
We have expanded the training.
Okay.
We have not had anybody as of yet get into the actual practical compounding. We had one technician who was, or at least we hired, but for a couple of months, to our credit, she failed to provide any evidence from her previous employers, so she never actually assisted in any sterile compounding. And she's no longer with us, but we do have Ryan, the PIC, and one of our other technicians who has gone through the ACA, American College of Apothecaries sterile compound training.
And then the plan is for them to actually assist you in the processing of sterile compounding products?
Yes.
Excellent. And are you still using Eagle Analytical to do all of your testing out of Texas?
Yes.
Okay. And are you utilizing any beyond use dates in excess of USP 797 guidelines?
No, I'm not.
Great. All right. And what type of sterile products would you like to ship into Nevada?
The only ones that we have currently, so the GLP-1s, 2 products, semaglutide and tirzepatide. We will follow all other testing procedures if we expand any other products, but currently I do not have any anticipated other products that I could answer at this time.
Okay. And could you just give us a little bit more information about the GLP-1s that you would like to ship? Is it straight semaglutide and tirzepatide? Is it a combination product?
They are both paired with glycine and amino acid that we felt like aided in any patient who is significantly deficient in that amino acid.
And are you familiar, this is for anybody, with the FDA essential copy guidance as it relates to the GLP-1s?
I am familiar with that, yes.
And so how is Hillcrest addressing that issue?
So not only the other components and so not only the USP 51 antimicrobial, so the preservative in the formulation is significantly different. The concentration and some of the protocols. So in my history of starting, at least in Utah, was one of the first in Utah and the neighboring states to do some of the GLPs. it was primarily because of a practitioner who, so as we went through the STEP trial, the Wegovy weight loss trial, he outlined some of the reasons that he felt that the commercial products could not serve his patients correctly, both in the significant dose jumps, but also the type of unique dosing that he wanted to provide. So there are quite a few providers who were the early adopters of the GLPs who wanted to individualize dosing in a way that the commercial products couldn't.
So you're using significantly different dosing regimen than the commercially available product. You just didn't list the concentration or dose on your application, so that's why I'm asking you some additional questions.
Yes, the concentrations of both are significantly different than any commercial product available, including the other ingredient of glycine. And then some providers also opt to do different dosing. So even the dosing that they prescribe for patients is different than the commercial products.
They also require a statement of significant difference with the patient, with the prescription request, indicating why that patient would benefit from the compounded product versus the commercial.
Great. That was going to be my follow-up question, whether or not you were actually doing that. I don't know if it's required since your concentration is different, but I'm glad to hear that you're getting that. And that's for every individual prescription that you're receiving. You have a statement of significant difference.
We require that. And if we don't receive that, we reject the prescription until the prescriber can clarify and give us that additional information.
Fantastic. Excellent. And Mr. Stuckey, just a question for you as it relates to the most recent Utah Board of Pharmacy inspection. It looks like they were there in June of 2025. They performed a sterile inspection. That's when I noticed that they were still using the low, medium, and high risk terminology. The only issue that it looked like showed up on the report is that you did not have a media fill result available at the time of the inspection. And I'm just checking to make sure that that was completed and sent to them.
It was, yes, correct.
And what was the reason why it wasn't available at the time of the inspection?
It actually was available, except so at the time that I performed it, I utilized the HOOD certification company because nobody else was sterile trained. So they were on back order for some of their products through the contact settling plates and the media fill, and so I was kind of left without their product at that moment through the HOOD certification company. And it was performed, but without another sterile trained person to sign off. So I see. In essence, I had to ensure that another sterile trained individual was able to sign off or provide that. And I provided it same day.
So your PIC would be able to sign off at this point?
Yes.
I can use that now. Okay, great. Excellent. I no further questions, Madam President. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I don't have any further questions as well. I feel comfortable moving forward with the application.
Crystal Freitas, I had the same question as Joe, so I'm glad you caught that as well. So I vote to approve. Is it a service change modification? Service modification, pharmacy application for Hillcrest Pharmacy LLC.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Freitas, a second by Mr. Pora. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. We thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move to 11A for Festus Pharmacy LLC. So if we have representatives online, if you could let us know through the chat function or raise hand function, and we'll have our lines unmuted. Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning, members of the board. My name is Vincent Van. I'm the pharmacist in charge at Hephaestus Pharmaceuticals.
Okay, great. Mr. Van, will anyone else be joining you today?
No, I'm the only person present.
Okay, all right, then I'm going to swear you in. If you could join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes.
Great, thanks so much. All right, Dr. Dodge.
Ms. Tucker is going to begin and then I'll take over after that. Thank
Oh,
you.
sorry about that.
No worries. We're tag teaming this.
Excited, yes.
Laura Tucker for the record. Thank you, Madam President. And yeah, Dr. Dodge will be tag teaming with me today. Hello, Dr. Van. I'm Laura Tucker. I'm a general counsel here with the board, and I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about your application. For the board, this is agenda item 11A, which can be found starting on page 6026 of the board book. And this is an application for a new out-of-state pharmacy, Hephaestus Pharmaceuticals, which is located in Miami. So Dr. Van, I know you mentioned you are the pick. I think I have that Nathaniel Armour, the president CEO, was the authorized person to speak today. And I just want to make sure that you are also, oh, nope, I've got you here as designated representative, so it's okay. And I just had a couple questions for you. So I wanted to confirm that you marked that Hephaestus will be doing non-sterile compounding. Is that correct? And
Correct.
are you planning on doing any shipping any sterile compounded drugs into Nevada?
So this application is just for non-sterile and community. We are opening up our sterile pharmacy and applying for licensure at a later time.
Okay.
We're finishing up the clean room build right now.
Okay, great. And then what products specifically are you planning on shipping into Nevada?
So we have commercial medications like phentermine, metformin, hormone replacement therapy, estradiol, progesterone. And for compounded products, we're doing ED and weight loss. So combinations of like sildenafil, tadalafil, and then weight loss medications, phentermine, compounded capsules, and then the GLP-1s.
Okay, great. And Dr. Dodge will be asking you a few more questions about that. But I wanted to ask you about one of the disclosures that you had provided to us for the board. It's located on page 6045 of the board book. And the disclosure is that the Hephaestus's parent company, correct, Adonis Health, is involved in a lawsuit with Eli Lilly in California. And I know when I looked it up that earlier this year, the latest action I had seen on it is that Adonis had filed a motion to dismiss, and that there was a ruling on it, and the claim survived Lilly's false advertising claim regarding Adonis Health personalizing its treatments. So again, this is an intellectual property and unfair competition lawsuit with Eli Lilly. Can you tell me what stage, if there's been an update as to what stage that lawsuit is in right now?
I don't have the best update. I just know it's moving forward, and I don't have an answer to that, to be honest.
Okay.
But Hephaestus wasn't named in this, the pharmacy itself.
Okay, so is it doesn't affect would it affect Hephaestus in any way, or is it just a different part of the company?
Correct, a different part. We're just a subsidiary of Adonis.
Okay. And then do you happen to know if there is an injunction that's in place related to selling any compounded GLP-1s as a result of the lawsuit?
Injunction. I'm sure about that.
Okay. I'm just wondering if there's anything preventing a court order in place that's preventing Hephaestus from shipping.
Continuing business as usual.
Okay, great. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Dodge to ask you a couple of non-sterile compounding questions.
Sure.
Thank you, Ms. Tucker. Thank you, Mr. Van. Just a few questions for you. You've been at the location since 2023, is that correct?
Correct, almost 2 years now.
Great. And can you just let us know what your experience is as it relates to non-sterile compounding?
Definitely, yeah. I graduated in 2018. I started in 503B, always doing compounding, sterile, non-sterile. For 2 years, I worked at a 503B focusing solely on non-sterile compounded products. The place was called Skin V Pharmacy in Pompano Beach. And then from there, I've always just been in the sterile compounding and non-sterile space. Really, my background is formulation development, working on research and development. That's my background in the 503B space, the R&D. So that led me to this company here. They wanted to open up a pharmacy for compounding services, and that's where I am right now. I'm trained through Critical Point. I've also done LP3 training through Medisca. So that's my credentials for compounding.
Great, thank you. And are you the designated person for non-sterile compounding at the pharmacy?
Correct.
Great. And Florida is currently following the revised USP 795 guidelines for non-sterile compounding. Is that correct?
They do enforce it. There's no like inspection report specifically for 795 or non-sterile, but yeah, we follow the current 795 guidelines.
And where do you get your formulas from? Are you guys creating your formulas? Do you purchase them from either PCCA, Medisca, Electco?
Correct. So we have it from Medisca and PCCA, and any customized formulas, that's from me working through R&D. And we always, for non-sterile products, before we launch, we always go through a stage where we get it third-party tested for potency through either ARL or Eagle Analytical.
And do you perform ongoing potency testing, or is it just on the initial
and
development?
internal audits through our quality assurance program? If we have new technicians, we'll do audits for their first compounds, and throughout the year, just random.
And are you purchasing your bulk substances from FDA licensed facilities?
Yes, sir.
And can you talk a little bit about your training program for the non-sterile compounding personnel?
The training program, yeah, we have assessments, and we have didactic training. We send them through either Critical Point or LP3. We make sure they have those CEs for that. We have on-site assessments as well. That's supervised by the designated persons. And then we have on-hand training and documentation. All those documentations are available.
And are you involved in the training program as the designated person for the non-sterile compounding?
Correct. We have a small team right now. It's just 2 pharmacists and 2 technicians. So we're all involved. I'm the main trainer for the non-sterile compounding.
Great. And do you plan on shipping any hazardous non-sterile drugs into Nevada?
Yes.
And is it hormones or anything besides hormones?
Just hormones.
Okay. And are you following USP 800 guidelines as it relates to the hazardous non-sterile compounding?
Correct. We have a USP 800 certified room.
And are you assigning any beyond use dates in excess of USP 795 guidelines for the non-sterile products?
Yes, sir.
And have you identified any products that potentially could be essential copies as it relates to the FDA essential copy guidance?
No.
Are you familiar with the FDA essential copy guidance?
Correct.
So if you were to have products that would meet those requirements, would you get a statement of significant difference for each individual patient prescription?
Correct. Every prescription coming from our prescriber would have that significant difference statement.
Great. And you guys provided a Florida inspection from July 2025 to us. It looks like that was a change of ownership inspection, so it was a fairly basic inspection from what I've seen in the past from Florida. It was just like a 2-page inspection report.
Yeah. That was a new business inspection, but we do have one from December of 2024 with a community inspection that was for operation. But when we did the change of ownership, I don't know why, but they provided the new business inspection. But we do have the one from December available.
Okay. And were there any issues related to the non-sterile compounding on the 2024 inspection report?
No issues.
Okay, great. No further questions from me at this point. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just had some follow-up for Laura. I appreciate your questions. I think the point is, I'm struggling with they're the subsidiary, but they're not affected by it. I do have concerns that we don't have enough visibility on what's happening with that lawsuit to move forward with the application today, or and the board may make a separate determination. I just want to give you the ability to have a minute and be thoughtful towards that.
Yeah, so Laura Tucker for the record, the big thing that I was making sure about is that sometimes when you have a lawsuit like this, it's an intellectual property lawsuit. I think it is actually, I'm glad Dr. Dodge asked about the statement of significant difference, because when I was looking at the lawsuit, the claim, Lilly's advertising claim that Adonis Health wasn't personalizing its treatments enough. It sounded like it was an intellectual property explanation for the statement of significant difference, even though that wasn't what was listed in the lawsuit. So I wanted to make sure that they don't have anything preventing them by the court from shipping any of the compounded GLP-1s. It sounds like Dr. Van is saying they do not have that. And also that they are doing the statement of significant difference for their prescriptions. So those were the two things that I wanted to clarify about the lawsuit. So I don't have any issues based on what's been represented to us today.
Mr. Weist, if something develops, or Ms. Tucker, if something develops, then that would certainly change whether or not Hephaestus could operate. Then they would just notify us, or
2 points. I think if something changes, then they would be required to notify us. And then 2, if we discover, which we sometimes do, if we discover something different than has been stated today, then there would be a pathway to revoke the license.
okay, great.
And then also, sorry, just once again for the record, Laura Tucker, to clarify, I did not, I looked at the docket and there wasn't an injunction on file. So there wasn't anything court.
I agree with that. It's not your responsibility. No. I mean, you've gone above and beyond. Staff appreciates that, but it's their responsibility.
I would feel comfortable moving forward, especially because there's a path.
Yeah, I just have a couple of
Oh,
questions.
sure.
Dr. Van Adam, for the record, are you compounding oral GLP-1s?
Oral, correct, as in ODTs, orally dissolving tablets.
Okay.
And then sublingual as well, a liquid formulation.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of struggling with the relevance between.
That's much more common now.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Any other questions, board members?
Madam President, I would move that we approve out-of-state use pharmacy application for Hephaestus Pharmaceuticals.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Kogo, a second by Ms. Borath. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Van. All right, we'll move on to our next agenda item 12B for Medivad Healthcare. We have representatives online. If you could please let us know through Zoom, and we'll have your line unmuted.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, yes, I'm the designated who sent the application, and also the pharmacist is here. Let me check. 1 second, so sorry.
No problem. Ms. Navares, are you still there?
Muted herself.
You want to move on and come back to him?
She is connected, but her microphone is not working, or she can unmute herself. No, she has some.
What's her name?
Paula Booger.
Hi there.
Paula, go
Can you
ahead.
guys, yep. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Hi.
great. Yep. I'm apologizing. I'm going between sites right now, but I'm 100% available.
Okay, great. And then, is there anyone else besides the two of you that will be participating?
No.
Okay, so if I could have you both start by stating your full names and your titles for the record, and then I'll swear you both in.
Yep. My name is Paula. My last name is Booker, And I'm the designated representative pharmacist in charge, but I'm also a senior director of pharmacy for Medivant Healthcare.
Thank you.
Okay, and my name is Maria Narvaez. I'm an QA associate who's on the application.
Wonderful. So I'm going to swear you both in together. I just need a verbal affirmation from each of you. If you could join me in raising your right hand, do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much. All right, Mr. Dutch.
Thank you, Madam President. This is an application for a new outsourcing facility, a 503B entity. It starts on page 1,600, I'm sorry, that's my page, page 6,374 of the board book. It's for Tailstorm Health, DBA Medivant Healthcare located in Phoenix, Arizona. I'll just have a few questions for you ladies today. Just some background information as it relates to the FDA with Medivant Healthcare. Their original registration with the FDA was in October 2019. Their most recent inspection with the FDA was September 24th, 2024. It continued on until October 10th, 2024. The firm was issued a FDA 483 form that listed 5 observations. The firm did respond to the FDA based upon that 483 form. So I just have a few questions for you based upon your response to the 483. Were both of you present for the FDA inspection in 2024?
Yes.
Great. And just confirming that was the most recent FDA inspection. You haven't had one since that time?
We recently just had one that closed up on November 2014, and November 14th. But we're still waiting to get feedback from them.
Great. Excellent. I will still ask you a few questions about the 2024 one.
Sure.
I think it's relevant today. In the response that you sent to the FDA, you stated that you would be providing monthly reports to the FDA until all the items were completed. It appeared the FDA received 3 reports from you, 3 monthly reports. I just want to confirm that based upon those 3 monthly reports, that completed all of the open items with the FDA. Was that correct?
Yes, it did. And then any ongoing, so everything was resolved except the air issue with the which they said that they would observe upon coming back for another inspection. So everything was resolved. So we had the labeling and the testing and all the other observations were taken care of.
And at that point, you hired a third-party consultant to assist with corrective actions, Jeff Ewan and Associates, Stantec, and Ron Stevens. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are you still working with that expert third-party consultant?
We are, yes.
Great. And the firm performed a voluntary recall on 11/6/2024 for specific lots of Avastin. Are you familiar with that recall process?
Very, yes.
I figured that you were. Could you just walk the board through the reason for the voluntary recall, any results that you found, and any policy and procedure changes you made based upon that?
Right. Yep. So what we did, we made changes to policies and procedures. We revised doing any vendor validations and resolving to full responsibility versus, and this is pertaining to the method 1 versus method 2 for the ophthalmic. We were able to close out, have termination of that recall from the FDA. So we satisfied the recall termination and we did get that resolved. It was a voluntary recall and 6 lots of Avastin. So we did not get a lot back from, I think we got a total of 7 Avastin syringes back. So as you can imagine, due to the expense, companies are not buying it, consignees are not buying it unless they absolutely need to use it. So, And that is about it on that recall. But yep, the corrective actions were vendor validation, just revising how the tests are checked in the batch review as well.
And the general reason listed on the recall was lack of sterility assurance. Was that correct?
Yes.
And was the voluntary recall based upon information that the FDA provided to you during the inspection?
Yes. So the products ended up being the sterility on the products. The products were sterile. It was about the method 1 and method 2 testing on it, but the overall sterility of the batches were sterile. It was just and also with the personnel monitoring as well, we changed that SOP. So the SOP did not state that personal monitoring of the operators needed to be done immediately upon in the room. So the monitoring was done after operators had gone from a ISO 7 to an ISO 5 room, which obviously got us hits in the clean room on our operators. So we've since changed that. And so immediately prior to leaving an ISO 5, operators are personally monitored.
Great, thank you. And then your firm was inspected by the Arizona Board of Pharmacy in December 2024. So very recently after the FDA inspection. I didn't notice that they had any issues identified in their report. Is that correct?
Yes, they did not.
Okay.
Yeah, they did not.
It appeared that you were compounding semaglutide at the time of that inspection, just confirming that you're no longer compounding semaglutide based upon the FDA shortage list?
We are not.
Okay, great. And then the FDA sent you a warning letter in April 2025. I'm sure you're very familiar with that as well.
Yes.
And your firm sent a very comprehensive response to the FDA, and I have that information as well. A few things that the FDA listed in the warning letter, I'd just like you to comment on. They had two statements. One stated that they were unable to fully evaluate some of your corrective actions due to lack of supporting documentation, and also that some of your corrective actions appeared deficient. I know you addressed those in your response to the warning letter. If you can provide some information to the board members specifically related to those FDA comments.
Right. So one of them is regarding the smoke studies, which we've since reconciled. So we've worked on the smoke study. So basically, the FDA is stating that there was turbulence bounce back on the smoke study, and we're stating that's not turbulence. There was basically a box that was perforated, and it looks like there is, but again, we're going, back and forth with our guidance and with Jeff Yun and our advisors, and we don't show that. So, and we can establish that as well.
Great. And have you received a response from the FDA to your response to the warning letter at this point?
All we received is that it would be evaluated upon next inspection. But as far as the adverse events SOP, that was satisfied, and then the labeling observation was satisfied as well. So I think upon this next inspection, they should be able to see. They'll have their comments.
And you have not received an EIR or closeout letter for the 2024 inspection yet?
25? No, we have not.
No, I'm sorry, the 2024. You haven't received a closeout letter stating that the inspection is closed, an EIR letter?
As of yet, no.
Okay. And just one more comment or question on the information that was provided in the warning letter from the FDA. It's a fairly general statement, but I just want you to comment on it. The comment states, FDA strongly recommends that your management undertake a comprehensive assessment of operations, including facility, design, procedures, personnel, processes, maintenance, materials, and systems. In particular, this review should assess your aseptic processing operations. I just want to make sure that your third-party consultant is assisting you with that process.
Yes, and in fact, we are coming up with a thorough, more robust training program as well, which also includes rolling out additional modules of master control, which will assist us with the ongoing training with that process with that. I personally went through the FDA Center for Compounding FDA training. And as well as with PDA. And I think that is a very good training to go through. So I think we're going to add that on board. And several of our upper management and head of departments have already done that same type of training.
Excellent, thank you. With the 2025 inspection that just completed, in my experience, if a 43 is issued, it's issued at the time the FDA leaves your firm. Did they issue you a 43 for the 2025 inspection?
No, they haven't issued yet.
So they didn't leave you with anything when they left your firm in November?
Oh.
Okay. I would just recommend that they provide that to us if their application is approved today, so we can review that. And no further questions from me at this time. Thank you.
Board members, any additional questions for Medevac?
I don't have any additional questions.
Great job, Dr. Dodge.
Thank you. Yeah, very thorough. Appreciate that. So I would move that we approve the outsourcing facility application. Right. For Medevac Healthcare. And if there is any 483 that comes from the latest FDA inspection, that they provide that to board staff.
All right, so we have a motion by Mr. Porat, second by Mr. Hobo. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on to agenda item 7B for Novum Pharmaceutical Research Services of Nevada, Inc. If we have representatives online, if you could please let us know on Zoom and we'll have your line unmuted.
One moment, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, my computer was doing something strange.
Hello,
good morning.
Hi, good morning. Anyone else joining you today?
I may have our principal investigator join if he's needed. He's on standby.
Okay. All right, so we'll start with you. If you could state your full name and title for the record.
Sure, it's David Bell Pruitt. I'm Vice President of Clinical Operations for Novum Pharmaceutical Research Services.
Mr. Pruitt, I'm going to swear you in. If you could join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'll turn it over to Mr. Zunino.
Good morning, Dr. Bell Pruitt. My name is Greg Zanino, and I'm with the board. I'm the Senior General Counsel to the board, and just going to ask you some questions about your application. I'll first note for the record, this is an application for a new warehouse. It's a non-publicly traded corporation. Dr. Bell Pruitt is the person who signed the application. The facility manager will be, I think, a Dr. Joseph Saju, and he'll be standing by, correct, if we need to ask him questions?
Yeah, absolutely. He's aware. I just didn't want to have him waiting on the call until we were up on the agenda.
So let me ask you, does Novum Pharmaceutical Research, the company that's the applicant here, does it do anything other than just store and transport investigational drugs?
Yeah, so Novum is actually a clinical research company. So we conduct clinical trials phase 1 through 4. The unit in Las Vegas is an early phase clinical research trial unit. So we conduct clinical trials here at this Las Vegas facility. What we're looking to do is add in with this warehouse license, add in a service where we can be a drug depot for our late phase division, where we would receive, kits or the IP for the late phase trials, and then distribute those to the investigator sites across the U.S. for use on a late phase clinical trial.
So tell me about the facility at 3760 Pecos. Is that a warehouse? What is that?
No, it's a clinical facility. We have clinical units here where we domicile subjects for trials.
So are you just transporting the drugs from the manufacturers to the facility? Is that how it works? Explain it to me.
Yeah, so currently what we do for the trials is we receive the drug products from our sponsors. The sponsor who's sponsored us for the trial, and we
That's the
receive
drug
those
company,
drugs.
right? That's the drug.
The drug companies, yeah. Yep. We receive those products, we store them here in our investigational product room, and we, dispense those drugs per a study protocol under the direction of the principal investigator for those trials.
Do you receive all the drugs at this facility, that the 3760 Pecos, or do you receive them at other facilities as well?
No, just here.
And then you transport them from 3760 Pecos to other locations too?
For the early phase trials, no, they're all conducted here and the drugs stay here. What we're looking to do with this warehouse license is what you just mentioned, is receive these, the IPs for patient trials that our late phase division manages, and they contract with investigator sites and other research sites across the US. And so we would be the acting depot, receive all of the drug product for temporary storage, and then we would, distribute those out to the investigator sites per need.
I mean, are you using your own vehicles to transport the drugs to the investigator sites, or do you contract with somebody else to do that?
I'm so sorry, it cut out the last 10 seconds on me.
I don't have the microphone close enough. So do you use your own vehicles or conveyances to transport the drugs, or do you contract with other parties to transport the drugs out to the investigational sites?
We would be using third-party couriers to do that.
Okay, yeah. So you're not doing any transport really, it's just strictly receipt and storage and then dispensing?
Receipt, storage, and then distributing through third-party couriers to sites across the US.
Okay. I don't have any further questions.
It's for the record. You solicit in Las Vegas, you solicit clients to participate in drug studies. Is that correct? And that's has been your core of your business as it relates to Nevada until now.
Yeah, and we still do that. That's still part of what we do here in Nevada.
And, to the staff, you're well known to the staff because you've had different doctors involved there that have gotten dispensing licenses that have dispensed these investigational drugs. And full transparency, when you're dealing with that patient population, we've received a handful of complaints from patients like, I want this or that, but they're investigational drugs and they have to, so there's no discipline on it. They've been cooperative with every investigation that's come up. I think now you're just expanding what you're doing in Nevada, and this is gonna be more of a hub for you. It seems to me that the warehouse will be located where you're doing the research now. And so you're just gonna bring more drugs in and then move them around, just to clarify what you're attempting to do.
That's correct. Yep.
And as far as other licensures, if somebody's dispensing a drug, your company understands that doctor has to have a dispensing license to be able, if they're administering, then they can do that under their normal ND license. So you're well aware of that, and nothing's changing with that. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify that for the record.
You're correct. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, great, thank you. I don't have any further questions. I feel comfortable moving forward with the wholesaler application.
Crystal Freitas, I don't have any additional questions as well, so I'd move to approve application for Novum Pharmaceutical Research Services of Nevada.
A second.
We have a motion by Ms. Freitas, a second by Ms. Jacobo. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you so much for your time.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right, we're gonna move on to agenda item 8A for Total Medical Supply, Inc. So if we have representatives from Total Medical Supply, Inc., let us know and we'll have your line unmuted.
Getting there, Madam President. Julie, can you hear us? Ms. Franklin, can you hear us? We have you unmuted. If you can unmute yourself on your side, please. Try again. I can still see you talking, but we can't hear you. Oh, you know, okay, sorry. I didn't know you knew. I can also provide you with a phone number that you can dial in just for the, so if you, okay, so we'll provide that to you. Okay, so if you just dial the following phone number, 1-669-900-6833. Again, 1-669-900-6833. We can do your audio through the phone and we can still see you. It'll take a second to admit you into the Zoom when we see that.
Hi, guys.
Okay, we can hear you.
All right,
Oh,
hi.
man, boy, that was a disaster.
You did.
Everybody is trying
Made
to
it.
switch me over to the MacBook side of things, and this is my first Zoom on a MacBook, and evidently there's more buttons I don't know about.
All right, well, glad you could make it. If you could state your full name and title for the record.
Julie Franklin, and I am the president.
And will there be anyone else joining you today?
Unfortunately not. We have a national sales meeting, and everybody has left me.
All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and swear you in. If you could join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
I do.
Okay, great. All right, and then I'll turn you over to Dr. Long.
Thank you, Madam President. Hi, Ms. Franklin. My name is Yen. I'm going to ask you a few questions regarding the application. And this application for the board members takes place on page 5,896 of the board book. It is an out-of-state medical device equipment and gases business. It's located in Texas. And they're submitting an application for ownership and location change. They're still, the previous location is in Texarkana, Texas, and this is it's still in the same
Texarkana,
city.
come on, man, Texarkana.
Oh, sorry, Texarkana, Texas, and it's still located in the same city, but a different location. Ms. Franklin was listed as the MDIG administrator under the previous owner, and she is the MDIG administrator now and also the authorized person. And so they are supplying diabetic supplies and continuous glucose monitors to patients on the order of a prescription by a practitioner. The new owner, one of the new owners, had a disclosure, and that is why they are appearing before you today. So, Ms. Franklin, I don't know if you know Mr. Donald Reed's past well enough to answer some
I
of the
do.
questions I have. Okay, you do. Okay, perfect. That would be great because it's primarily questions for him. So the CEO, Donald Reed, did submit a application with us, a personal history application. And in that application, he made a disclosure. And in that disclosure, he stated that in 1996, he pled guilty and was convicted of possession with intent to distribute cocaine and money laundering of proceeds from specified unlawful activity. He served 60 months in prison and was supervised released subsequently for 3 years. His sentence ended sometime around March of 2003. So my question for you on behalf of Mr. Reed is, what happened in 1996? Why was he in possession and distributing cocaine at that time?
There was actually a large group, I think, that was going on about that time. It was a, wrong crowd, wrong thing to do. Ended up, I guess, what do you call that? Trafficking. I don't want to throw out a name, but, kind of a ring, one of the ringleaders. One of the reasons they got him to plead guilty as part of, I don't know the terminology that people use, but to gather everybody that was in the ring of things, it was a guilty plea of those charges. I'd say just a wrong time of life. Since then, I've been with Mr. Reed since 2005. We've built 4 or 5 businesses together. We run a 501c3 nonprofit for children in the lower communities. For 30 years, that was 30 years ago, whenever that situation happened in 1996. So he's a totally different person, has been a different person since he got out of prison. And he probably honestly wasn't that person when it happened. He just happened to be, he got in the wrong situation.
And you said something about ringleader. He wasn't the ringleader, or he was the ringleader?
No.
No, okay.
No.
And you said he was like trafficking or distributing cocaine. And where was he getting that from? Or was it something that was manufactured in where he was?
No. No, it wasn't manufactured. It was, somebody had come into the area. Texarkana is between Dallas and Little Rock. So the 2 bigger cities, and you go straight through Texarkana is kind of the halfway mark between the 2. So one of the bigger distributors or whatever ended up getting in touch with some people here in the Texarkana area saying, hey, we've got some stuff that you can make some good money. Come pick this up and be the person that drives it from here to here.
So his role was just transporting the cocaine from one location to the next?
Yes.
Okay. And you mentioned that you know Mr. Reed since 2005, and you've opened several businesses with him. Why does he
ran different businesses?
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. Why does he want to own, or has he ever owned a business like this in the past, a medical equipment and gases type of business?
Yes, he became a partner in one of the third largest national diabetic supply companies in 2005. Well, he came into the company in 2005, but he became partner in 2006 or 2007, actually was submitted onto the Medicare application for the PTAN number. We ran that company when competitive bid came around. We sold that company. We got into pharmacy. He was an owner in the pharmacy. He was an owner in home health. The previous owner of this company was his wife. They got a divorce this past, I think it finally finalized this past April was when the final thing happened. And in the divorce, he got control of Total, and that's why we submitted the change of ownership.
Okay, I see. Yeah, that was where I had some confusion. On his application, he did state that he's been the owner since 2013, and this is an ownership change application. So I wasn't quite sure what role he played because he wasn't listed as the owner in the 2019 application. So, his wife was the owner, but he wasn't the owner, right? Until more recently. Okay, all right, thank you.
Correct.
And I don't know if you know off the top of your head, since you've been with the company since 2019, it looks like what percentage of your sales are to Nevada residents?
Honestly, not much. We're hoping to increase it. I'd say we're in 48 states across the country. So I'd say Nevada is probably, if I had to guess, maybe 6%,
okay,
8%.
Okay.
We just currently got a sales rep in New Mexico that will kind of go over to Nevada and stuff. So we're hoping to increase.
And are you licensed with the Texas Board of Pharmacy? And have they inspected your facility recently? And
Yes, ma'am.
did they find anything with the inspection? Okay, great. Thank you. That is all the questions I have for you. I'll turn it over to the board for any additional questions.
Okay.
Okay, board members, any additional questions?
No question from me, Madam President. I would move that we approve ownership and location change for Total Medical Supply.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Cobo, second by Mr. Porath. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. All right, thank you for your time, Ms.
Thank you,
Franklin.
guys. Have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you too.
Can you give me a 5-minute recess for restroom and other things, and I'll come talk to you?
Absolutely.
Thanks.
We'll take a quick break. Okay, we're gonna continue on with our Board of Pharmacy agenda. I'm gonna call for agenda items 13B, C, D, E, F. And I think 14A, Mr. Weiss can also
Yes,
join.
ma'am. Yep.
This is all for Patterson Logistics Services, as well as Patterson Dental Supply. So if we have representatives out there, if you could please let us know, and we'll have your line unmuted.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Alex Cooper for Patterson Companies. We should also have Kelly Carew on the line.
Super, okay, we'll look for Kelly. Anyone else?
That will be it.
He's unmuted. Hello?
Hi.
Hi, I'm
Great.
Kelly Carew.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so just for the record, if I can have you once again state your full name and titles for the record, and then I will swear you.
I'm Kelly Carew, Regulatory Licensing Manager at Patterson Companies.
Thank you.
Alex Cooper with the law firm Quarles and Brady on behalf of Patterson.
Okay, so I'm only gonna swear in Ms. Carew. If you could join me in raising your right hand, do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
I do.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, I'll turn it over to Dr. Weiss.
Good, thank you. Good afternoon, you two. Dave Woods for the record, I'm the executive of the Board of Pharmacy. I'm just gonna help the board with some questions. Patterson, for the board is a large company. We have a long relationship with them with little to no issues. They're going through an ownership change of some form right now, and as required by statute that we talked about yesterday, they need to appear to address that. And then I'm also going to ask some questions related to the DEA action that was from a couple of years ago, because that's kind of a new disclosure for us. So what's going on with the, and I know your business, but for the board, can you tell the board exactly, where the majority of your business is, or what kind of markets you serve, please?
Yeah, we are a medical device distributor, prescription drug distributor for dental clinics as well as veterinary clinics. Distribute everything that you kind of see within those four walls. So all regulated product as well as any other devices and products needed in those clinics. And then Patterson Logistics Supply is a third-party logistics provider that ships on behalf of Patterson Veterinary and Patterson Dental.
And so for the board, if not the largest, pretty close to the largest veterinary distributor in the country. So they're quite large, which is neither good or bad, but just putting that out there for the record. So the ownership change is, what's happening with the ownership change that you're applying for today?
The ownership change, we were purchased by or acquired by Patient Square Capital. So we moved from a publicly traded company to a privately held company. All of our entities are still 100% owned by Patterson companies. All of our FEIN numbers and business structure still stayed intact. It is just now that Paradigm, I apologize, Paradigm is now owner of Patterson companies.
Sure, we won't hold that against you. They might, it's all new, I'm sure, so. But from their perspective, we're seeing some of this now. I mean, we have all these different trends. So we're seeing private equity enter into these markets. So do they have experience in this market before, or they're relying on the current staff to help them with that? Or how, we're concerned about when we have these changes about the care for Nevadans. And so we want to make sure that they're doing it within the law. So did they have experience with that before, or this is their first venture into this kind of market?
This is one of the first that they have moved into, but they have very experienced personnel that are part of the transition team that are at our corporate offices, on a daily basis, making sure that we're operating within the laws.
Yeah, it could be a challenge for people that are in different business silos, and then they come into one that's like really highly regulated, and then so the translation sometimes can be challenging. So they're going to keep the current staff to make sure that they're following all the regulations, and you guys have throughout the years. There's no concerns about that whatsoever.
And a significant amount of the staff has stayed on, the existing staff from before the sale.
And when you were on before the staff change, or before the ownership change?
Was I? Yes, I've been.
And are there any concerns you want to identify to the board related to the change that the board should be aware of? You don't have to, but is there any concerns that you have, or you think that they're going to get it?
No, I don't have any concerns. Like Alex said, all of the officers have remained intact, and there's just more kind of additional people, I guess, at overseeing everything, but for the most part, the staff has remained the same.
Okay, and I do think that you've resolved it, but I want to talk about it real quickly. I think for board members, it's page 6617, and then a page beyond past that. There was a 2003 issue with the DEA. Are you aware of that issue? One of the two of you?
Yes.
Okay, and then that was, I think it was related to suspicious orders. which was kind of, in my mind, strange timing, related to all the other things going on in opioids. But what happened with that, with the DEA? They felt like you weren't reporting properly suspicious orders?
I can speak to that because our firm was involved in that issue. You know, it was based off of minor record keeping issues, ARCOS reporting, and suspicious order monitoring. Patterson did a lot to change its processes as a result of this investigation. Made significant policy changes and retrained employees. This included a comprehensive DEA Form 222 policy that went into effect in August in 2023, which adopted strict standards for executed 222 forms and rejection of any forms that did not strictly comply with DEA requirements, as well as a new escalation process for a centralized review of these forms. There was additional training provided to all the individuals who are involved in executing these forms, and a separate group was created to oversee the ARCOS reporting process. That group received additional training, and there was, a lot of back and forth with DEA as to how to make sure that these processes were refined during this investigation.
Yeah, and I might not be an expert, but I have some knowledge of it. The fine was like $45,000, which is like a very small fine for the DEA if the board wants to weigh that at all. But that's
absolutely
quite a small fine for them. I'll point out, just because this is when I get to talk to the public from time to time, the state expects suspicious orders reported to us in times. When you guys decide that for all wholesalers and manufacturers, we have a shared website with the AG and the state police. And then those get reviewed by our staff and the state police from time to time to see if we need to look at that. So if you have any questions about that, or anybody does, they can get a hold of me after this meeting at the office. I don't have any further concerns. I think that it's required by law for the appearance. I wanted to address the DEA. It looked to me like all those things have been fixed or addressed, and in reading the DEA action, they seemed really concerned about the fine, that you're going to pay the fine. So I assume you paid the fine at this particular point.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any other questions. I'll turn it over to the board. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Board members, any additional questions?
None from me, Madam President. I would move that we approve yes, for Patterson Logistics as well as Patterson Dental Supply.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Kobo, a second by Mr. Porath. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you so much for your time.
I apologize for interrupting. This covers all of the items 13 as well as item 14, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. You as well.
Thanks. All right, so next we're gonna move to agenda item 13A. That's for Packaging Coordinators, Inc. So if we have representatives from Packaging Coordinators, Inc., you can please let us know. It looks like we have someone. Hi.
I'm here.
I'm sorry, could you state your name?
My name is Catherine Cabrera, and I'm the designated representative for Packaging Coordinators, LLC.
Okay, great. And will there be anyone else joining you today?
Yes.
Okay, I see.
There is Mark Burke that is joining me, and also Nick Mesa.
Hi, good afternoon, members of the board.
Hi, good afternoon.
Nick, you're from Quarles and Brady, right?
Yes, Nick Mesa, counsel for PCI with Quarles and Brady.
Okay, great. And then Mark Berg, do we have his line unmuted? No. We can't hear. We can't hear.
We'll try.
Good morning.
Mark, we're gonna try again. There you go.
Okay.
Okay, my apologies. I couldn't unmute. For the record, my name is Mark Burke. I'm the Executive Director of Global Quality Operations for PCI.
Great. So I am going to swear in Mark and Ms. Cabrera. So if you join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes.
I do.
Thank you so much. All right, I'll turn it over to Ms. Tucker.
Thank you, Madam President. This is Laura Tucker for the record. Before you is agenda item 13A, which can be found starting on page 6471 of the board book. This is an application for a new wholesaler, Packaging Coordinators LLC, doing business as PCI Pharma Services, and they are located in Philadelphia. So just to let you know, I'm going to be asking a couple of questions about your application, and anyone who knows the answer can go ahead and feel free to answer it. And then the board might follow up with any questions that they have as well. So can you describe for the board what type of products you are planning to ship to Nevada?
So we have one of our customers. We are a CMO for pharmaceutical companies, and one of our customers reached out to us because they wanted to distribute their sterile diluent that we package for them to this state.
And that was my next question to ask, is why you wanted to enter the Nevada market. So I do note that you have some disclosures. They are found on page, the actual, you had an investigation and by the FDA, and the FDA had some FDA 483 observations. They can be found on page 6486 of the board book, and then your response is provided on 6476 of the board book. I wanted to summarize for the board just what the main observations were, and just correct me if I'm wrong, but it was quite lengthy, so I just want to make sure to shorten a little bit. So one of the observations is that packaging coordinators failed to establish adequate written procedures for production and process controls designed to assure that the drug products have the identity, strength, purity, and quality that they are purported or represented to possess. Another one is that equipment used to manufacture, processing, packing, or holding of drugs products is not of appropriate design to facilitate operations for its intended use. A third one was that the responsibilities and procedures applicable to the quality control unit are not fully followed. And the fourth was that buildings and equipment used in the manufacture, processing, packing, or holding of drug products are not maintained in a clean or sanitary condition. Was that an accurate summary, or do you want to correct anything that I said?
If I can make a brief correction, that is
Yes.
a 483 from 2023.
Yes, from
that
2023,
was
sorry.
correct. So that was submitted with materials packaged up, I believe, in March with the application. There was another 483 that was completed at the beginning of March. I'm sorry, at the beginning of this year, that was not included on the application. That was from 2025. In the new 483, the FDA did note that PCI had addressed all of the 2023 observations. So I just want to make sure, happy to answer both questions for both sides, but want to make sure you have the complete record.
And Nick, this Dave, you might be on. I just got a little confused when she said she's a CMO, and are they an outsourcer, or they're a CMO, or what are they exactly?
So the operation the operations at the Philadelphia site, it's a pharmaceutical commercial contract manufacturer. We do not manufacture drug products on site. We perform packaging.
Like a virtual manufacturer then, or?
No, it's not drug manufacturing. It's packaging, labeling, assembly.
Repackager, okay.
Yes,
And so
yes.
what's the CMO about? Because to me, that's like a marketing organization. Maybe I'm not thinking of the right term.
More contract manufacturer for our customers. So we're not branding our own products. We're providing a service to our customers in regards to packaging, oral solid dosage forms into bottles, blisters, performing the secondary packaging into cartons, the labeling activities, and likewise we perform secondary packaging of vials, pre-filled syringes, auto injector, assembly, labeling, and those types of activities. But we're not performing the manufacturer of those
I
products
understand that.
themselves.
Just when I hear CMO, I'm thinking of a marketing organization. You're doing much more than that. You just happen to be that's part of what you're doing because you have access to people that want packaging products together for ready to use and that kind of stuff. So you're doing more than a CMO.
Correct.
Okay, that's fine. I just heard CMO and I was like, the license confused me, but I'm back on target. Thanks.
Yes. In the summary of the observations, I think that was accurate as to the 4 elements of 483 that was provided from the FDA.
Great, and thank you, Mr. Wiest. This is Laura Tucker again for the record. So I just want to confirm, so Nick, you had mentioned that there was another a follow-up by the FDA in March 2025, and that the FDA stated that all of the deficiencies had been addressed. Did they make any other observations?
Correct. So there was, and apologies if the board didn't get this, we did supplement with the 2025 483. In that 483, we're again happy to provide all of the observations from 2023 were deemed to have been addressed. The 2025 483, happy to get into that as well, had one observation with, I think, 4 subparts pertaining to temperature excursion, record keeping, and other issues. And I think Kathy would certainly be happy to kind of address those issues if you'd want to hear about those.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. Ms. Cabrera, if you wanted to address those issues as well.
Yes, that's correct. So we were inspected on January 27th to the 31st of this year. And we provided a response on February 20 of 2025. All the responses were accepted by the FDA. And when they issued the EIR, they provided the closure of all those observations. It was one observation. The observation on the subpart first has to do around controlling the reject materials effectively. We put immediate actions in place during the inspection. FDA was so happy with us. They acknowledged that on the report. Then the second subpart had to do with some production records in relation to acknowledging the meeting of the specifications. Some procedures were revised, and these are in effect fully remediated and closed. Also, procedural adherence related to deviations and escalation of events. We created a new procedure, fully in place, fully remediated. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, so it sounds like that packaging coordinators they have made some progress in addressing any of the deficiencies, or sorry, the observations that the FDA made in its last inspection.
That is correct. I'm sorry, my light went off.
Okay.
That was acknowledged during the sent of the EIR to our company. They acknowledged that all the items were sufficiently closed, and that was in the letter that they sent back with the EIR.
Great. Okay. And then did your home state board, I'm assuming that would be located in Pennsylvania, did they take any kind of administrative action related to the FDA observations? Okay, great. I don't have any other questions. And so I submit this to the board for discussion.
Great, thank you, Ms. Tucker. Board members, any additional questions?
Thank you, Coco. For the record, I move that we approve new wholesaler application for packaging coordinators.
Ms. Freitas, I second. Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Cobo, a second by Ms. Freitas. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. All right, we thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Bye. All right, we will move to agenda item 9A for PMS Pro LLC. So if we have representatives here, please let us know on Zoom.
If you're here to appear, please raise your hand or hit *9 to notify us.
Oh, I see someone.
A real hand's raising.
A real hand. That's Alec Kruger.
Frederick Martin is the name.
Let's see. Madam President, we can go to the next one and see if we can, staff can get a hold of them in the
Okay.
background.
All right, I'll call for 11C, that's for XE Care LLC. We have representatives from XE Care LLC. It looks like we have a hand raised there. All right, do we have anyone on the line for XE Care?
Yes.
Oh, great. Great, and then will there be anyone else joining you today? That we have to unmute?
Christine, but I'm trying to unmute her, but she's not muting her line.
We have Kristen, she's not unmuting herself. Kristen, if you can unmute yourself, please.
Hello, this is Shamika Mazik.
Hi, right, so I'm gonna swear you both in, well, actually, if I could have you both state your full names and titles for the record.
Hi, I'm Shamika Mazik. I am representing Z Care LLC, and I'm with Quarles and Brady.
Okay, gotcha, all right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Andrew Bregman. I'm the pharmacist in charge at ZCare.
Okay, so Mr. Brogerman, I'll swear you in only, if you could join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, I'll turn it over to Ms. Young. Thank you, President Park.
My name is Stellar Young. I work for the board and I'm going to be asking a few questions about the application. We did receive your letter as well, designating Mr. Brugman as the designated representative. So thank you for that. This is item 11C. It starts on 6296, application for change of ownership. ZCare provides non-sterile compounding and mail order services. They've been registered with the Nevada board since 2021. Today, Andrew Brugman is the representative, excuse me, and he is a licensed Nevada pharmacist. Mr. Brugman, can you explain your role in ZCare and how long you've been there?
Thank you, Andrew.
Yes. My name's Andrew Bregman. I'm the pharmacist in charge. I've been in this role for nearly 2 years, and I provide all of the pharmacist in charge duties and responsibilities of the pharmacy.
Are you able to explain the change in ownership today?
I'm happy to take that. This is a process of where an affiliated pharmacy is being brought underneath the organizational structure for the purpose of common ownership. So the tax ID and name isn't changing. It's a parent level change.
So same policies and procedures, same facility, everything is the same.
Everything else is the same, correct.
Will staffing stay relatively the same as well?
Andrew?
Yes.
And there was a disclosure. Andrew, are you familiar with the pending action before the Iowa Board of Pharmacy?
Yes, I'm happy to speak to the pending action. There is a pending action for the Iowa Board of Pharmacy. To give some background on the facts, between July 7th and November 4th in 2004, the board issued a complaint because the pharmacy dispensed 9 separate supplies of a non-controlled substance to a patient in Iowa. The prescriptions and refills issued were issued pursuant to a valid prescription by Iowa licensed providers. However, at the patient's request, the patient made a representation that those scripts weren't received, and so the prescriptions were refilled. And so that matter has been pending since June of 2025. ZCare is working with local counsel and the board to continue investigations on that. No adverse actions have been initiated right now while the investigation is continuing and ongoing.
Do you have any idea when that will be completed?
We don't have a say. It's been several months. There's still investigations. There's still determination of facts that are ongoing. So we don't have a firm time at this moment.
Understood, yeah. And whenever you guys do have resolution, definitely send us a copy of
Absolutely.
I have no further questions.
Do you want that as a condition of if it's approved that they do that, so that there's a record of it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, board members, any additional questions?
I don't have any. For the record, I move that we approve ownership change for ZCare LLC. And as part of that, a condition that we receive resolution of the Iowa board action.
All right, so we have a motion by Mr. Horak, second by Mr. Kovo. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. All right, we thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much. Happy
Thank you for your
holidays.
time.
Thanks, you too.
Madam President, staff is corresponding with 9A. We'll give you an update here shortly. If you want to go to 15A, we can continue with that and then maybe could circle back to it.
Okay, we'll go to 15A, and that is for Alan Kruger.
Oh,
He's not there anymore.
Alan.
Rachel's there though.
Yeah, we can go to, if you want to go to Rachel and Wright, we can do that, and maybe Alan will show back up in his chair there.
Okay, so we will go to 16A, that's for Rachel Ann Wright. You are available, please let us know, we'll have your line unmuted.
Go ahead, Rachel, start speaking. You may need to, we're unmuting you, you may need to unmute yourself. You hit *6, that might do it too on the phone. Trying, she's there. Maybe try calling PMS and see if we've gotten them on the line. We were talking to a person.
I'm here. Can you hear me? This is Rachel.
Rachel, great, thanks.
Yeah. Yes.
Hi, Rachel, could you please state your full name for the record?
Rachel Ann Victoria Wright.
Okay, I'm gonna swear you in. If you could join me in raising your right hand. Do you
Yes,
swear?
ma'am.
Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay, great, thank you. I'll turn it over to Ms. Long.
Thank you, Madam President. This is item 16C. It begins on page 6,949 of your board book. Ms. Wright is applying for a pharmaceutical technician in training registration to work at Walgreens in Las Vegas. In her application, she made a few disclosures and is the reason why she is appearing before the board today. Ms. Wright, I have a few questions regarding the disclosures that you made in your applications, okay? So you mentioned in 2004, August of 2004, you were arrested for selling liquor to a minor. Were you convicted? Did you have any penalties, orders from the court regarding this particular arrest?
They made me pay. I had to do a paper arrest. I wasn't actually put into custody. I just had to go down and get fingerprinted, and I paid a fine, and that was it.
Okay, thank you. And then in April of 2009, you were arrested and convicted of a DUI. And that one, your license was revoked for 12 months. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so, was this your first offense? Was this your first DUI?
Yes.
Okay. And what were you under the influence of?
Alcohol.
Okay. And so I'm not familiar, but with how the penalties work, but having your license revoked for 12 months for a DUI seems pretty serious. Was there anything else regarding that event that would have led to your revocation of your driver's license for 12 months?
Yeah, I also was put on probation. I also, I did have other charges with that, but they were dismissed. So I do believe that's why they gave me such a more of a sentence than just the DWI.
Okay, what were the other charges? Because that
So
wasn't
I do
mentioned.
believe it was DWI, so driving under the influence, and I do believe it was so long ago. I do believe I had a controlled substance on me as well.
Okay, and what controlled substance did you possess at that
Co-
time?
Cocaine.
Cocaine, okay. And were you using the cocaine?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And how long have you been using cocaine at that time?
2009. Oh my Lord, that was so long ago. I would say probably, it's hard to say. I mean, that was so long ago. Probably some months,
A month, okay.
I would say. Mhm.
And what led you to start using a substance such as cocaine?
I was just young and in the wrong crowd at the time and just made poor choices.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have a substance use disorder, would you say? Or at that time?
No.
No, okay. And
No,
then
it
in
was just more of just partying.
okay. And then in 2019, about 10 years later, you were arrested for possession of drug paraphernalia and possession of a controlled substance. You were found guilty for possession of a controlled substance. Can you tell me what your penalties were, what you were ordered from the court to do regarding that conviction?
Yes, I was arrested. I had time served, and I paid, I think it was a $750 fine.
Okay. And what was the drug that you were in possession of at that time?
It was heroin.
Okay. And what led you to start using heroin?
So in 2012, I had my first child, and he was born 3 months early. So he passed away in my arms at 11 months old. He never came home from the hospital. So around that time, I kind of just went through a rough patch in my life and used the wrong things to cope with. Let me just state that I am in no means trying to use my son's death as an excuse for my actions. I just was not in a good place at that time in my life.
Okay.
But I'm more at peace. I'm more at peace with my son's death now, and I have completely changed my life, and I no longer use drugs.
And I apologize that, you went through that loss. I'm sure
Thank
it was
you.
very difficult. And at that time you were using heroin, did you have a problem with it? Did you feel like you had a substance use disorder?
No, I mean, of course, you if you use it for a certain amount of time, you do withdraw off of it. But once I came more at peace, with my son's death and everything, I straightened my life up, and I had no problem with that.
Okay. And how did you aside from the arrest and the time that you served, like how did you stop using heroin? Just cold turkey? Did you go to therapy? Did you use anything to help you and assist you with stopping the use of the heroin?
No, I just did it cold turkey.
Okay. And then in 2024, you mentioned you were charged with shoplifting or theft of property. It was less than $1,000. And it was mentioned in your paperwork that this case was dismissed. Can you give me some information regarding the circumstances surrounding that
Yes.
arrest?
So what happened was it was really a misunderstanding. I was shopping in Walmart and I had items in my basket, several items in my basket, and I had some like 2 makeup items in the seat where like the child sits. And as I was shopping, I put my purse on top of the 2 items that were in the child seat. I proceeded to the checkout line and paid for all the items in the bottom of my basket and totally forgot about the 2 items underneath my purse. So right before I walked out the door, they stopped me, and the lady wasn't going to arrest me initially because I did pay for my other items and I had the money to pay for the items. It was just a mistake, and so they had me in the holding room, and then there was another alleged shoplifter that they had to call the police on. And so because they already had the police come in, she decided to go ahead and proceed with me as well. So like I said, I paid for all the items. It was just a misunderstanding. I forgot that 2 items were underneath my purse and the seat.
Thank you for providing some more details regarding that charge. So you're applying for a pharmaceutical technician in training registration. Why do you want to work in a pharmacy?
Well, it's actually not, I'm actually not trying to be a full-time pharmacy tech. My boss just sees potential in me and has encouraged me to apply for it because it's a requirement to be able to become a assistant manager or store manager for Walgreens. So it wouldn't be like I was a full-time pharmacy tech. It's just a requirement to learn the necessary training to be able to become the assistant manager or manager of Walgreens.
Okay, and how long have you been working for Walgreens?
It would be 2 years this coming August.
Great. Thank you. Have you worked in any other pharmacies?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions I have for you. I'll turn it over to the board. They may have additional questions.
Yeah,
Yes,
this
ma'am.
Dave, can I ask a couple follow-up questions?
Sure.
Rachel, Dave Weiss with the Board Pharmacy Executive. Just 2 quick questions. What was your gateway drug to heroin?
My gateway drug to heroin?
Yeah,
Yeah, I would say the cocaine.
okay. And when was the last time that you did you smoke marijuana too, or no? Sorry, I'm gonna ask.
Did I
you.
what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I couldn't hear what you said.
Did you ingest or smoke marijuana during that time?
Yes.
Okay, because they're different action of drugs, so people like cocaine and heroin is not like a normal progression, and you generally don't just start with heroin. So I just wanted to get what was going on with you. And then when was the last time that you ingested or partook in illicit drugs?
It was 3 years ago.
Okay, all right, thanks. That's for the board.
Board members, any additional questions?
Ms. Wright, did you undergo any therapy or counseling to deal with any of the traumas that you described?
Yes, I did do some therapy. Yes.
Are you still undergoing any type of therapy or treatment?
No, ma'am, I'm not at this time.
When was the last time you had a session with a therapist?
That was so many years ago. I really couldn't recall. It's been years ago.
For the other board members, I just would like to see Ms. Wright undergo an assessment, but otherwise I would feel comfortable proceeding, but wanted to hear your thoughts if you have any.
That's kind of what I was thinking as well, an evaluation.
Just due to the recency.
Yes.
Yes. So I guess I would ask Ms. Wright, would you be comfortable with undergoing an assessment if that was what we would require prior to being granted a technician in training?
Yeah, what do you mean as far as assessment?
Dave Weiss for the record. The board does this quite often. I would recommend it too as part of a condition of registration. Well, you can choose, or we can help you find an evaluator that meets certain criteria of the state, and we'll give you a list of what those are. It could be a doctor, it could be an APRN, it's certainly if they have the right technique or practice setting, and then or a counselor of some sort, and then they'll evaluate you to see if you currently still have. I mean, you obviously have issues with, you have in the past have issues with illicit drugs. So, and you're going to go into a pharmacy and has free access to controlled substances that could become illicit drugs. So the board's saying they want you to get evaluated by somebody, a professional, to say that you're not at risk of being in the pharmacy.
Correct. Yeah, I totally understand that. I'm just trying to figure out, like, as far as, like, what is the extent to it? Like, how long would it be as far as, is it going to be therapy, or do I just have to meet with a doctor, or?
I think that the board's being kind to you to ask you for your opinion if you want to do it. I think they're going to make it a condition of licensure, and that it's generally one meeting in person where they ask you questions, where the person can take those questions and calculate an opinion of you.
I mean, yeah, that's fine.
And we can get the list right out to you, and you can do this lickety split and get it back to us. And if it comes back with that person determines you're not at risk, then the board will probably allow the staff to grant your registration.
Okay, yes, sir. I completely understand.
Jade Jacobo, for the record, I would move that we approve technician in training application for Ms. Rachel Wright pending a favorable evaluation by PRN or its equivalent by the board.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Jacobo, a second by Mr. Porath. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes.
All right, this Dave Weiss again. The board will get a hold of you either tomorrow or Monday and start emailing you, or you call the board if you want with what the requirements are for that. And then you'll get the documentation from one of the attorneys of what the conditions of your licensure is. Or Skylar. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Y'all have a happy holiday.
Thank you, you as well.
I see 15A is there, Madam President, if you want to go there.
15A, okay, 15A is for Alan Kruger. Alan Kruger. All right, we'll have your line unmuted.
Alan, go ahead and unmute yourself there if you can. We're hitting the button to let you do it.
Yes.
There you go.
Great. Alan, if you could state your full name for the record.
My name is Alan Michael Kruger. I have a Nevada license number 21068. I live full-time in Florida, and I've been an active retail pharmacist for 37 years.
Okay, great. I'm going to swear you in. If you could join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'll turn it over to Mr. Weiss.
Good afternoon, Alan. This is Dave Weiss, the executive. I'm just going to ask you some questions, and then before I do that, I'm just going to tell the board why you're here today. So Alan made what would be a proper disclosure on his renewal. As you've seen many times before, we kind of have three categories of disclosures on renewals determined by Yen and myself. So the first one is it's a disclosure that doesn't relate to their practice, and we don't do any action. That's the vast majority. We have another category where the disclosure requires us to open up a complaint on it and do an investigation to the level of what we need to do. And then we have the one that's without in front of you, which is, it's kind of a pending action. He may give us an update here, but it was concerning enough that I wanted him to appear in front of the board to tell you. Now, his renewal, because of the way the process has to work, has already been done. So this is not discipline. This is not determining whether the renewal will go through. The renewal I've already processed. This is just an evaluation of the events. And it's an opportunity, I think, wisely to talk to him about what happened. So are you still affiliated or working for Brookville Pharmaceutical?
Yes,
Al?
I'm employed by them. No
Okay,
one
great.
presently is using my Nevada license. I presently have 21 state licenses. For the last 10 years, I've been involved in compounding, non-sterile compounding.
Okay, what is Brookville Pharmaceutical? A 503A, a 503B,
It's a 503. It's a 503B. It takes care of drugs that are on the FDA short list.
Okay, and are they shipping into Nevada now?
May I ask? I thought this didn't involve Brooksville.
Well, everything's related, Alan. Everything's on.
Oh, okay.
Everything's on.
Oh, I
tape.
thought this was all my issue because the letter didn't say what it was really about. So I assumed it was from Brooksville, and Brooksville said that in the spring they applied for a Nevada license, only because I have a license, but they used the wrong form, and that's the last they heard of it. So when I received the letter and I asked them, they said, "Oh wow, maybe they are going through the process of." So I made an opportunity for the two owners to be on board through this, but
Not necessary, Alan. I'll be more clear. I'm aware of most of the questions I'm asking before I ask them. I know that they have either have an application. I now have determined that they filled out the wrong application, which is not a question here today. This is not discipline. This is not an application for them. This is only your renewal. But because your disclosure was, again, I give you credit, proper disclosure, everything you did the right thing. We're not taking discipline on you, but you listed Brookville, and then that made me look in Brookville. So I didn't have any choice. So I'll get off of, I just wanted to set where you are and who you are for the record. You've done that. If Brookville wants to contact Mark Cedar or me after this meeting to resolve any pending issue that they have, the staff, you now know me and we'll talk to you about that.
I work part-time for Brooksville, and the other half 20 hours I work for an independent, which I'm at right now.
Okay, and they don't have any involvement in Nevada, the second place?
No, it's just a mom and pop.
Perfect, great. Okay, let's get back to your disclosure, and thanks for your patience with me.
Oh, no problem.
Your disclosure it was an action with Ohio. I agree, everybody's innocent until proven guilty. Is a resolution with Ohio yet or not Ohio?
Actually, that was going to be the third issue. I have a statement with Ohio, very simply, not to incriminate myself. In May 12th, Ohio Board of Pharmacy sent myself, Alan Kruger, the PIC for Brooksville, for only 2 months, and a letter to Brooksville Pharmaceuticals, a letter of suspension. Essentially, I have a letter which I drafted because the case was, I'm sorry, I'll just read it then. Because I have 21 licenses and I'm sending the exact same thing to every single state, just
Alan,
where I'm on the same page. So
Alan, can I hold you for, the board has both of
actually
those.
You have that. Okay.
They have both of them, but I'll let you
have
say what you
everything.
want to.
Everything I'm going to say today, you actually have. So I have to summarize by saying I was not involved with the settlements in October between Brooksville Pharmaceuticals lawyers and the state of Ohio, because I was only the PIC for 2 months, and the issue was for 1 year before I got there. So because there is no disciplinary record on me, and I had no say with the settlements, I have to very respectfully say I can't speak for Brooksville on the Ohio topic.
Right, I'm not, so I'll be a little bit more clear. Did Ohio ever take an action or a complaint or an administrative action or anything on your Ohio pharmacy license?
I received an Ohio license in early March, and on May 12th, 2 months later, they sent me a letter of suspension.
Okay, so they have, and so is that resolved with Ohio?
Yes, because you could go on the Ohio, I think I included that. You could look up my name under my Ohio license, and there's no disciplinary action at all.
Is it in a suspended status?
No, it's active, 100% clean.
How did the
Brooksville
suspension
did
get?
settle. They settled with Ohio.
So once, to your knowledge, once Brookville settled with them, then Ohio removed your suspension?
Yes.
Did they
Yes,
provide you
I'm
documentation to
100%
that?
clean. I'm 100% clean, little by little for the next 2 years. When I renew all 21 licenses, I will send all the Ohio information, the order that says me and them were suspended, and then I will send them what I sent you, saying that there's no disciplinary record on me. I was not part of the settlements. I really wasn't even involved in the situation which happened for 1 year, 2 months before I got there. I can't.
Yeah,
really
I understand that, Alan, but like Ohio did send you notice that you were supposed to have a hearing sometime in the future, and that notice came to you personally on your Ohio license, I assume, or by your name at least, on May 12th of 2025. And so I don't have, you did not provide documentation that that has been resolved. Has Ohio sent you any correspondence that
I have
say?
not received anything from Ohio, but Brooksville is, since they paid a fine, they are mailing now back and forth to Ohio, and I am the PIC for Brooksville representing Ohio. But in writing, I have not received anything that says you're clean, but I renewed my license in Ohio. I think it was in September it expired, and they granted me a license, and there is no disciplinary record on the website.
I understand that, but that, I mean, candidly, it could still be pending. We wouldn't put pending discipline as the discipline. So I think talking to you today is exactly why we have you come in front of us, so that, because we can't get an understanding of what's happened. And now I have a complete understanding and a path forward for me, which I'll tell the board is I need to check in with Ohio. Obviously, I'll check in with Ohio.
I'll email Ohio asking them, but I'm sending everything saying I'm clean with Ohio. I wasn't involved.
Understand. So I think for me, I don't have any further questions. I'll turn it to the board for any additional questions.
Do you honestly think that I'm still suspended in Ohio, or it's very unlikely, but anything's possible?
No, Al, I think that you've been honest and forthright, and you made a disclosure when you could have made no disclosure, and that would have set a cascade of other problems. So I think you made a proper disclosure. I don't think we have enough information in front of me, and I'm happy to talk to you after this meeting. This is how the state of Nevada goes about exploring these issues, and that's what we've done today.
Yeah, it was helpful to
Okay,
have.
thank you. I'm very forthcoming. I wish.
Al, the board's gonna talk now, so just hold tight, and then
Okay.
they're not gonna take an action. You've not been disciplined. We just talked to you, and now I know what to do.
Yeah, so, Alan, this is Helen Park. I was just saying that it is very helpful to have your additional, testimony or the context, because it gives us the fuller picture. So I don't have any other questions at this time. Board members, any additional questions? Okay, so with that, thank you so much for coming today and speaking with us and providing the additional information.
So you're not asking about Oregon and New Jersey. Essentially, that's from 20, I could summarize it in 1 minute because I have to do that. That's the cascade effects. Because in 2018, I was asked to apply for a Kansas license through reciprocity. 3 months into the 1-year process, I was told we don't need the license. I made a phone call. They said, okay. Kansas didn't document it. I got the letter that said you have a denied license. I said, who cares? I didn't want it anyway. I notified you. So I didn't put it down on renewals that I was denied a license. So little by little, all the states are jumping on board, giving me fines for not disclosing it. But I didn't view that as a reprimand. So Oregon in 2024 gave me a $150 fine. And then since everybody learns about Oregon, then New Jersey jumped on board. In September, they gave me a $2,000 fine. And who knows, maybe for the next 5 years, I'll still be getting little by little, all from that 1999, that 2019 denial, which I didn't want anyway. So,
Yeah, Alan, Steve, we don't, we're familiar with the cascade. This is not, we don't cascade for no reason or whatever the reason is. We do our own investigation in it, and that's what we're doing. So I'm going back, I'm not worried about Oregon because I'm going back to the primary issue, right? So that's what I'm just trying to.
Which was Ohio.
Which is what we're concerned about.
I understand. Everything is on the Ohio website. I think well, I don't know if I gave that. Yeah,
you can do whatever you want to do. I will be talking to Ohio.
That's fine with me. I got no problem with that.
All right,
Thank
you
you,
so
sir.
much, Alan. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
All right, bye-bye. All right, we'll call for agenda item 9A for PMS Pro LLC. Do we have any representatives from PMS Pro LLC?
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, I'm Fred Martin with PMS Pro.
Okay, great. Will there be anyone else joining you today?
No, just me.
Okay, I'm gonna swear you in. If you could join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, I'll turn it over to Ms. Young. Thank you, President Park.
This is Skylar Young for the board. This is agenda item 9A. It starts on page 5930. This is a new application for medical products provider doing business as PMS Pro LLC. The sole owner and operator is Frederick Martin. Hello, Mr. Martin. I'm just going to ask you some questions on your application today. First, why do you want to be an MDEC administrator and open up this business?
Well, I've been in the healthcare field for let's say about a decade now. Started out as a paramedic, then went into home care, and then currently run a DME in Atlanta, Georgia, and now I'm opening one in Las Vegas.
So you've owned a business before this?
Yes, ma'am.
You've stated that you've met the 1,500 hours of experience requirement. Can you provide some more background on your employment and how it relates specifically to the medical products you'll be providing?
Yes. So I was at Impact Resources Solutions in Atlanta, Georgia. I worked there for about a year. I'm kind of currently still working there, just kind of still learning a lot. And that was it's pretty fun. It was my mentor is the one who owns the company, so kind of working with someone that you look up to is always a plus. So yeah, would you? Do you mean like the duties?
Like more about the equipment that you work with, and if you've done.
Okay. Yeah. So we primarily worked with. Okay, gotcha. So we primarily work with braces, so back braces, knee braces, ankle braces, and we kind of go out and talk to doctors about the type of braces that we do provide in the area, build relationships with them. So when they have patients that they want to give the brace to, then they'll give us a call. That is pretty much, kind of that on the marketing side. On the, I'm sorry.
Is there any other assistant equipment that you're going to be providing other than braces?
No, just braces. We work just primarily with all braces, no other type of equipment. So like only back braces, ankle braces, knee braces, etc. So
How long
I've
have you
only
been-
having I've only
Okay.
I'm sorry.
How long have you been in Las Vegas?
Well, I have my mom lives out there. She's been out there for about 5 years. So I've been back and forth for about 5 to 6 years.
Okay, because the facility, the application reflects that it's going to be based in Las Vegas. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you have any family members who are practitioners?
I'm sorry.
Do you have any family members who are practitioners?
No.
I don't have any further questions. So,
Okay, thank you. So,
I-
Mr. Martin, this is Helen Park. I have a question for you. So it sounds like you're still living out of state. Do you plan to move to Nevada?
Yes. My mom lives alone, so I'm moving out towards that way now. Actually was just come out of back for the Thanksgiving. Yeah, so the address I have on there is where I will be until I get a place out there.
Okay, so this physical address that you listed is your mom's address. It's
Yeah.
not, okay. All right, and then do you have an idea of where your physical location will be?
The PMS Pro or of where
PMS.
I will eventually live.
No, PMS Pro.
Yes, PMS Pro has a office out there already.
What is the,
Um,
where is it located?
It's let me pull the address. Just want to be correct here, but I believe it's 5,000 Okie. Second. Okay, so it's 5,000 West Okie Boulevard, Suite A6.
Okay, great. And then does anyone, is there anyone working there right now?
Yes. I have not on PMS Pro's behalf, but they're kind of like a concierge for anyone that walks in.
It's a concierge service for anyone who walks in who needs braces?
No, there's just kind of direct, and we haven't been able to do anything. We've just kind of been going through this process. So, just for anyone who walks in, at all looking for anywhere, anything like that. Like if they're looking for PMS Pro, she just kind of lets them know. We're not open yet, but we do have that office.
I see. Okay, and that's where you plan to operate or work from once,
Yes,
if
ma'am.
everything's approved. Okay. And then how do you plan on, advertising to customers or getting business?
So we do SEO marketing. We build relationships with the doctors surrounding, and I'm also part of the Chamber of Commerce out there in Nevada, a specific healthcare one.
All right, board members, any additional questions?
I have a couple. Mr. Martin Davenport, for the record, are you the administrator of the facility in Georgia?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're aware that the requirement in Nevada is that as an MDEG administrator, you need to be at the facility 40 hours a week.
Yes.
So will you be relinquishing your responsibilities in Georgia when you move to Nevada?
Yes, sir. We have already have that in place.
Okay. Can you talk to me a little bit more about your role right now? It's listed that you're the administrative assistant at Impact Resources Solutions. I guess, do you have experience in educating patients about braces?
Are you talking about in this DME space or altogether as a healthcare provider?
Yeah, just your overall qualifications to be an administrator.
Okay, yeah. So as far as giving education about the braces that we do provide, there is like an educational packet that we place inside of those packages when we do ship those out. They have like the breakdown of, and the braces that we're selling are pretty general. A lot of like one size fits all. There's no anyone that needs to specially kind of like fit anybody for any of those braces. So it kind of gives a breakdown of how to use that brace. And when anyone gives a call in, I'd go over it with them. We are dealing with elderly patients, so if they aren't able to see it or the words are small like that, or I'll kind of go over it with them. But yeah, that's as far as education goes. Yeah, I just kind of go over those packets for them, explaining them how to properly insert, let's say that's their ankle, and tighten it up, and etc. Was that your question?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hello?
Yeah,
We're
here.
thinking.
We're just thinking.
Oh, okay.
So I guess what I'm thinking is, the question that I have is more along the lines of your experience. So I know that you've worked, you stated you have the experience, but then I wonder if it's directly, the direct experience that's needed. So if you did, it looks like you wrote that you were the administrative assistant and you did data entry.
Mhm.
So how did you work with braces? How does that relate?
Yeah. So once we get clientele, we still have to order from a vendor, and then so as far as like those spreadsheets and everything that we have to send over to the vendor to let them know what orders we need to fill. I work on that end. And then also when it comes to billing, I send kind of like something similar out to the biller for the company, so that they're able to properly bill for the
Did you
braces
work
sent.
directly with any patients?
In person, well, just kind of like over the phone. If anyone were to walk in and sit down and talk with us, I worked with them then. But I never put a brace like on someone and then tightened it up or anything like that, if that's what you're asking.
Okay, and then in your new business, what is your business model like? Is it gonna be the same where you're mostly interacting over the phone, or will it be walk-ins and in person?
Yeah, so actually, it's been a lot more walk-in since we are in a like in healthcare plaza. So now I just kind of sit down and I talk to people a lot about the braces. They come in and they want to know, and there's some inside of the office as well too. So they kind of check them out. A lot of children actually too, because we're not too far from a pediatric office. So children with like cerebral palsy and developmental delays that need like certain back braces and leg braces, people kind of come over and inquire about. and I give them information as well there too.
Did you graduate college?
I graduated as a paramedic out in Georgia at the age of 18.
And that was like
And
a
then,
college, or is it you got a degree?
Yeah, so there's that's not a degree program, but my majority of my experience did come from working for about a year with Impact.
Yeah,
Resources
I think
Solutions.
I think the board's trying to help you. We're trying to find a path
Okay.
that you would qualify for the administrator. I can just tell you that they've already kind of determined that you didn't have enough patient care to count the 1,500 hours maybe by your testimony. And I'm just going back to certain types of schooling and certain areas can also get you to qualify. You probably don't quite get there with that. But you you had part of it. So I think everybody right now is just trying to help you. I am.
Okay.
Mr. Martin, how long have you been the administrator in Georgia?
Not long. We actually just started at the beginning of this year, actually. So almost about a year now. Yep, early 2025. I want to say.
You work full time there? You work full time, so
yes,
you're up to like 1,800 hours doing that in that position.
Yes, I'm actually I just left my office now, so yeah.
So I'm a little unclear. So he was the MDiG administrator at his prior job?
It was, but again, I'm just trying to help you. I'm not sure that is the same thing as an administrator in Nevada. So I think I think that you've asked the pointy question. Access to doing the work with patients has meaning. That's what the law requires. The schooling, but he is an EMT, and that obviously he knows how to work with patients and that kind of stuff. It's just ultimately going to come down to your decision.
Yeah, I mean, Adam Porthler, I do certainly with his background as an EMT, he has more patient care experience than other potential MDiG administrators that have come before us. So I'm a little bit more comfortable with that. And, he obviously has been in the business in another state. So
do you want us to read you the requirements for it?
I'm aware. I have them in front of me here.
Do you want to read them for the rest of the board? Sure.
Get to the attestation page here.
One on 5949.
For an MDiG administrator, you have to have a high school diploma. In addition, you have to have at least 1,500 hours of verifiable work experience related to the products provided by the medical products provider or medical products provider wholesaler, or have an associate's degree or higher in a field of study directly related to patient care, and will be employed by the MDiG for at least 40 hours a week or during all regular business hours, and will ensure that the operations of the business or facility comply with all applicable federal, state, and local laws, regulations, etc.
Yeah, so Dave, just to get back to that, you've disclosed your schooling, but do you have an associate degree?
No, they do not provide a associate's degree. But I was a medic for about 8.5 years. So
yeah, I think the sticking point is really the 1,500 hours of verifiable work experience related to the products provided. So that I think that's kind of the point of contention at this point.
So working with Impact Resource Solutions for I believe over that 1,500 hours, is that not something? Is that not what you guys are looking
Dave
for?
Weeks for the record. Yeah, I mean, it's something, they're just weighing out, the issue is this. If we're gonna give you the license, then you have to be qualified to do the training, and we've seen, the reason why these rules are in effect is because we have people that aren't qualified to do it, so they're talking to you, which you've answered honestly, and they're trying to see if you meet the qualification. Alternatively, they can say you have to get somebody that's more qualified at this time, and then you can work on the qualification and take that over when you get the experience. That's the determination that they're trying to make right now. And I think you've answered all the questions. You've answered all the questions. It's really up to their decision at this point.
Yeah, I definitely can train, because I have, it's, I have to go to Vegas.
We know that you're gonna go get, we know what you're gonna do, we trust that, it's just, do you qualify? It's written in law, the qualification, so they're just trying to figure out if you qualify.
Again, for the record, I'm actually comfortable, and I, so, like I said, I think,
is that a motion?
That's a motion. I would actually move that we approve the MDEG application for PMS Pro LLC pending favorable inspection.
It'll be inspection. Well, I mean, if he's gonna do the back braces, he's gonna need additional training from whoever he selects the inspector. Even though they may be training right now, we'll make sure that he knows what he has to do to be able to provide the proper care.
I just want to make sure that it is actually relocating, so I would actually want to request, Adam, if you're okay with it, like one surprise inspection within a year, like unannounced inspection, just to make sure that he did relocate.
I don't think you need to make that part of your motion. We can do that if that's what you're telling us to do.
Yeah, I mean,
also make it part of your motion.
He's gonna need to be inspected prior to getting.
Yeah, that's what they're telling you, sir. You better be coming to Nevada or they're going to be taking an action on you. So if you're not coming to Nevada full time, just stop right now, ask for it to be tabled and figure out a different plan. They trust you, but they're going to verify.
Okay, come check me out.
That's right attitude.
All right, so we have a motion by Mr. Porath. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Jacobo.
Are you changing, it's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
She hasn't requested to amend your motion. The one surprise.
I did say pending favorable inspection.
Well, I
You're
wanted
wanting.
one additional inspection after the initial inspection.
Sure.
Okay. I will amend my motion to reflect that.
Any additional discussion? So this is Helen. We're saying he qualifies through the
1,500 hours.
1,500 hours through Impact Resource Solutions and then complemented by his EMT experience.
Correct.
For patient care. Okay. All right. I don't necessarily think the additional inspection is needed, but.
Think so either.
Yeah.
She's always looking out for the staff. We'll do the inspection. It's fine. It's okay. Our job. We love the inspection.
All right. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. All right, Mr. Martin, we wish you all the best.
Hey, Madam President.
All right,
we'll
I have a quick question.
Yeah, now's not the time for it. I will contact you.
I'm sorry.
Now's not the time. They've ruled. I'll contact you tomorrow.
Okay, all right, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We have removed 15A, as you know, but maybe not everybody else does. So by my records, you're done with all the agenda items that have been sent out, except for one.
Except for one. All right. So with that, the board will open up the floor for any public comment. If there's anyone in the room or online who wishes to make a public comment.
What's up?
Please feel free to come forward or raise your hand on Zoom. Do we have anyone who wishes to make a public comment?
See no one on Zoom, Madam President.
Then the period for public comment is now closed. That completes our meeting. Our next board meeting will be in January in Las Vegas on the 14th and 15th. With that,
Come around fast.
our meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.